Oh, yeah, let's fucking lick the stamp and send it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, hello and welcome to the show. Today, I love memes. I am in a workshop known as MDS Fabrication, and I am here with a man who I have relentlessly pursued because I desperately wanted him to come on my show because I think he's a gangster. I'm going to try and do this in its original Romanian. Michael Stanciu.
That's good.
Was that all right?
That's good. You'd make my parents proud. I should bring you home.
Absolutely.
I'm bringing him home.
Do we have vodka at home? Like, what's the preferred Romanian?
Rakia.
What?
Rakia.
What the fuck is that?
It's like fucking grappa.
What's grappa?
Like,
that's
plum brandy.
Oh, that sounds good. Does that go hard? Do you have that with Coke?
Man, that's a breakfast staple.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mate, breakfast of champions.
I'm telling you, that's like, I don't know why, it must just calm people right down and bring them to a point where they're like, I'm ready for the day.
I'll throw it out there from, Eastern European. There's some tough individuals. I'd be also drinking firewater for breakfast if I had to face the sorts of things that they've had to face.
It tastes like shit.
I'm sure it tastes terrible.
I don't recommend it. But you know what? If you're ruthless, fucking all for it.
Well, look, it's the same
I'll
way.
help you.
When I take Bundaberg rum overseas and I give it to Americans or Europeans and they have a swig of it, they're like,
yeah.
They're like, are you joking? And they're like,
that's our standard, man.
They're like, this is the worst thing I've ever drunk. And you're like, you don't understand. And go, in my country, in Mother Australia, we call this sugarcane champagne.
Yeah. Sugarcane champagne.
This is the finest of all cocktails.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I was also dropping on my head, clearly as a child, that my parents failed to tell me about. But, Michael, we're here because you make stuff.
Yes.
And I've been watching you make stuff for an extremely long time.
Yes.
And I've gone, this man has some of the maddest skills I've ever seen. I hope that he will let me talk to him. How long do you reckon I've been hounding you?
At least 6 months.
Oh, at least. I reckon it's been longer.
You remember when we were at World Time Attack and we were just sitting there, a little bit of banter, Christian, I was helping you guys push some stuff around. It was pretty much from then on, man. Yeah, so that's nearly a year.
Yeah, that's nearly, we're nearly at World Time Attack a year later.
Yep. Under the car that I went to World Time Attack for.
Under the car. Yeah. Oh, as I said, this is the one with the Bluetooth engine.
The Bluetooth engine.
Which
Bluetooth
was
brakes.
Bluetooth brakes?
Yeah.
Because I never got more excited than the SEMA cars that have the Bluetooth diffs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
or tail shafts.
Oh, Bluetooth tail shafts. Yeah. Like the technology in automotive is just incredible. I just can't believe all this wireless, non-contact technology that you can put 1,200 horsepower through it.
Yeah, exactly. What I don't understand, right, there's so much Bluetooth on this car, but there's so many cables in this workshop today. How do we facilitate Bluetooth in this car? But we can't even. Where's the cordless?
It's like I say to my wife in the morning, I am subcontracting for Telstra. Mate, there's just cable everywhere.
Yeah, yep.
But this is my vibe.
Yeah, no, I like it.
As I said, I'm kind of sick of the podcast la-di-da studio with the plant and the lights.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've lent into the shitness.
Yeah.
And that is in the space, because, you come in here and you go, oh, mate, it's not very clean. And I'm like, mate, this is what a workshop looks like.
Man.
It's not a fucking art gallery.
Yeah.
The word is workshop.
Yeah.
You're working.
Literally.
Now,
slave.
Michael, for people who have no idea why I'm here and going, why are we talking to this Romanian man who drinks grappa for breakfast? Mate, it's all lies.
Yeah.
Buddy, how would you describe what you do?
Man, depends on the way you look at it, I guess.
I'll throw you under the bus for that one. I know that was a loaded question.
Yeah, no. It's how do I explain what I do? Like it's
because you're MDS Fabrication.
Yeah. So should we start with where it started, or should I just give you a rundown of what we do?
Tell me. We'll go there.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
Let's just envision you as a client or a customer.
Absolutely. I'm a client or a customer, and I've said, Michael, I hear you fab the things.
Yep.
I've got a Barra in my AU Falcon, and I want it to do number 11s from here until next week.
Yep.
How do we do that?
Start you off with a package, mate. Where do we begin? What's your budget?
My budget, like everybody, is limitless. I have champagne taste on a goon bag budget. So much like...
You know what's funny is that's the way I build my own cars, but with the idea of longevity. So I'll thin my budget right down and see how far I can get on pretty much nothing.
Yes.
But in not considering the fact that I'm building 90% of it myself.
Correct.
And not adding my labour, not putting any of that other stuff in the conclusion.
Well, that's kind of the problem, is the labour is actually where all the value is, because You know, a pile of metal is just a pile of metal.
Yes.
But when you touch it with your damn spirit fingers,
Yes.
then you turn it into something special.
It's a little bit of gold, yeah.
A little bit of gold.
I like to think of it a little bit of gold.
Mate, it is a little bit of gold. Look at some of the shit you make.
It's cool.
Like,
I love it, yeah.
I have seen some of your things, and please correct me if I'm horribly wrong, but your stuff is strapped onto some pretty fucking serious cars.
Yeah, man. Like, I guess if you had to put it down as a rundown as what we do here, we'll tick any box in terms of metalwork. If I could have some of the highest paid performance shops come in here and they need us to help them with something, we'll help them. We'll get them through that hurdle. We won't advertise it. We won't be part of that whole picture, but we're in the background. And it's the same deal. Like, it's grown to this point where I don't care if you come in here and you need a crack welded in a fucking spoon, or you've got some forks that need to be sharpened or polished. You bring it in here. If we've got time for it, I'll make the time for you. It doesn't matter if it's like cutlery, or it's this car, or it's a fucking crack in your air compressor or whatever. If I can fix it, I will assist you. And that's just the building blocks of this business. Like, we've kind of stuck our fingers in all different pies. You've got aviation, you've got marine, you've got civil. I think my favourite is civil. That's the shit. That's where money's at. But at the same token, like, automotive, man, this is the passion. This is the dream.
That's why you do these things.
Yes.
Because we are...
Think outside the box.
Sitting here, we are wedged. I mean, this is a bit of a dream garage. If you stop and look at it, you've got a balls out. You've got a balls out R35 over our heads.
Yep.
You've got some mad hot rod looking ute. I'm not smart enough to know what it is.
I actually think it's a 54 or 57 F1. So
Right.
F100, the first early days bubble guarded thing. It's beautiful.
Like, this car is a nut and bolt job. Like,
It
is gorgeous. You can see the layers of clear coat on it. You can see the love. You know, when you look at a car and you see the chassis rails, and you can see the love in the freaking chassis rails.
Yes.
That's when you know a car's good. When you look at
if they've gone that far,
when you look
know
at
they
stuff
care.
that like no other person would look at, but us
Yep.
idiots go, chassis rails.
Yes.
And you go, that's what's up. There's no gaff tape or zip ties in here. And
that's
even
it.
I looked at the interior, and I looked at the leather that had been selected, and I looked at the grain in the leather, and and I'm like, this is painstakingly, lovingly selected.
Yep. Yeah, it's for the person. It's a taste, and it's very selective, but at the same time, it's not subjective.
No.
Anyone can have it. It's just what you're thinking about.
And this is kind of the thing. It's a bit of a dream factory in here, isn't it? People come in here with dumb ideas, and you go, I've got this. This is fine. We can figure this out.
Yep.
And like real mad stuff. And that's what I really like about what you do.
If you get the right client that has the right mindset and is actually stable and will roll through all the hurdles with you and follow through all the way to the end, you can do some really crazy shit on really crazy budgets.
And that's it. But they've got to be ready for the journey.
The journey's the hard bit, man. People get caught up in it too much, and they pull the pin too early. They liquidate. They get rid of it all. They fall back into a fucking EG Civic. From a build that could be the most greatest thing in the whole world, they'll jump back to some real basic stuff. Nothing wrong with an EG.
Cool car.
But, you know, if you're, like, say, for instance, this thing above the F truck, I think it's a Valiant Charger. And the customer wanted something that was a bit more modernised. The easiest way we could go about it was redesigning the chassis. That thing's going to be occupied by a complete SRT drivetrain from a 6.4, 2017 Trackhawk. Who's going to do that? No one even thinks about that shit. And it was one of those things where the customer approached us and they're like, it's going to cost us about 20 grand to rebuild this 360. What are the options? These are your options, and I'll do all of them. You pick one, and I'll help you the whole way through this situation. So being able to actually do that, that's it's muy bueno. It's the icing on the cake, you know. And back in the days, like growing up to this point now, there's been times where we've been stitched up. You know, you'll start a project for somebody, and then they'll turn around and something will go wrong, or you have a disagreement or an argument or something like that. Things go pear-shaped. You lose hours and hours of invested time and money and dedicated effort, and your staff don't feel very good about it and all that kind of stuff. These things do happen, but it's very, very rare nowadays. You get the right people in, you get the right people on the job, and it's fucking, oh man, it's magic.
And the magic of doing things as long as you have is you can see the red flags and you can smell the bullshit little bit better.
It's almost to the point where now if someone makes an inquiry even through Messenger, and you know what? We get about 70 inboxes a day on our Facebook page. I can't. I don't.
70.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all selective stuff. Like if I go through it now, it'll be something like there'll be one person that wants a titanium intake for some random ass car, another person that's like, I want to do a diff conversion in my Chrysler Galant, or it'll be something along the lines of that, or it'll be out of this world. I want to convert my whole car to IRS. It's torsion. It's old. It's shit. Can we do something about it? Cool, we can. And, you know, coming to this point now, in terms of automotive, we've got like 3 years of bookings ahead of us. And I actually can't roll from booking to booking because of inconsistencies. But, man, people are so patient. If they're happy with having to wait, they'll just wait. And it's the best.
And
it's the best feeling.
The sign of a true master is when people are happy to wait. That is actually...
That's rare.
It's very special.
It is.
Because they know... Because you try somebody else, you go, oh, well, it's kind of the same. He just does shit. Other people do that, and you go to someone else, and then it is not just subpar, but like you're offended at the work that somebody else does,
man.
And then they come back to you and they go, I'm sorry, I tried some other moron. They're a moron.
Yeah.
I'll wait. 3 years, no problems, brother. I'll see you in 3 years.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody else steal my spot.
Yep, literally. Like I think I don't know if you saw recently, we kind of spat the dummy a bit with a couple customers where I had a couple health issues that had come up, and what it had done is just put the time frame out 2 weeks, and that was all it was, and it was enough to piss enough people off. And we got to the point where I sat down with my partner and I'm like, I think we should just chuck an oddball. Let's just charge people $150 to lock their booking up. Because, you know, if you put money to the idea of what they've got to do, whether it's $50, whether it's $100, whether it's $1,000, they're going to be there that day. Because they paid for it.
Because, and this is a magical thing when you start to learn it and you start to pay attention to something called self-worth that we're often not good at realising.
Oh, man, it's such a hard
when
thing.
you put a few dollary-doos to it, because when you're starting your business and you're just grateful that somebody will give you $1.
Yeah, man.
You're like, yes, please, sir, can I have another $1? I will work for another week.
Yep.
And then, you know, a few years later, you're like, you've still got that, for $1, oh, Jesus, maybe I should charge $1.10. And because you've
it's a doubt too, isn't it? Like
you've slogged for so long and you just go, oh, shit,
what am I worth?
What am I worth? I'm not sure. Like, I'm booked for 3 years, but maybe I'm
be a slave to this shit.
Maybe this will all go. Maybe it'll all just go away if if I charge another 10 cents, maybe it'll all fall over.
Yeah.
And then you reach a point where you've actually just fucking had enough and you don't care and you're happy to burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
And you go, this is how it fucking is.
Yeah.
Shit will get off the pot.
That's exactly right. That's exactly how it all goes.
And that is a magical place.
Yeah.
When, as a self-made person, you reach a point where you actually don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
And you go...
I really don't, man. I fucking don't give a shit,
And that's the thing. If they could have all the money in the world, but if they're an unpleasant human and not nice to deal with, you go, I'm probably not the shop for you.
The craziest thing, right, is in terms of value, right, if you put a dollar value to something, I understand that. You have to have a dollar value to your hourly rate, all that kind of stuff. Everything comes into play, the cost of your overheads, the materials, the time, staff, any kind of movements you have to go pick things up, do this. It all changes, massive variables, right? But say, for instance, you click with the right client, things just kick off in a completely different way, and you might slip in little favors here and there, and then they repay you in little favors, and things work out so good that then it manifests so much positivity that your next client is this guy's mate. Then this guy's mate has spoken so highly of you, and then it goes from that guy to the next guy, then that guy to the next guy, and then shit, I don't know. I don't remember the last time we actually advertised properly. I haven't.
That's the thing. Your advertising is so fucking garbage that
It's
like you look
shit,
at it and you're
bro.
like, whoa, that is fucking terrible.
I don't believe this guy's even a workshop.
And this is the funniest thing is you go, when someone's work is beautiful and their advertising is garbage and they're booked out for 3 years, you're like, mate, that is a magic factory because if you can look that terrible and be that good, that guy must do some mad shit.
Yeah, man.
And I've gone researching on things that you make and I like look at it and like I can see the thought.
Oh man,
and it's just that
I've had sleepless nights over ideas that
I can tell.
I've had to put into action. Like I've had to get them off my shoulders. I've had to do them, and that's like the plenums, man. The biggest thing was back when we first started, I actually just wanted to make a manifold because I couldn't afford one. That's all it was. And I needed something that was really, really thorough. It needed to fit in all these stupid cars that I have because I'm barra obsessed. It's a cost effective thing. Don't get me wrong, brilliant motor. It's just they're so cost effective.
4 litres, 6 cylinder.
4 litres, 6 cylinders, bulk of torque. If you've got even if it's an NA plus T and it's a basic drift setup, you're going to be so satisfied. Like it will not let you down unless you do some real dodgy shit. And you know, Fords are very forgiving. You probably know that very, very well. You can fuck some shit up on a Ford and it will keep kicking on.
Their interior plastics, though, mate, they're not
We're not
great.
talking about that.
And the fabrics, oh, God, I saw it.
No.
Oh, God.
The fabrics come from factory smelling like a chain smoker.
Oh,
Some of them do.
like mine just fall off. They fall, like the door trims are just like, they just fall off and they're going, that Ford quality.
Yeah. This is in your ED? Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
I've had customers FGs here that they present so beautifully on the outside.
Oh,
you
mate,
get in them.
The cars look good, and actually
what is this fucking thing?
My EL looks really nice in photos, and you get in it, and you're like, "Fuck, what a turd!" Like it's pretty good for what it is,
but it's a fun turd,
mate.
Yeah,
it knows how to do number 11s.
I like that, man,
and it makes the noises.
I've literally fucking built cars just to make the noise before.
And that honestly, that was all I wanted. I just wanted it to make all the noises.
Yeah.
My favourite thing in that car is when, I just cruise on the freeway and like young blokes in a Falcon come up beside you because like mine's an XR and it's got shark fins and all the things.
Oh man, that's the shit.
Yeah, and like dude will hang out the window giving you the thumbs up, and then mate, I'll fucking wind it and just give it a massive dose, and they're like hanging out the window losing their minds, and they're like, oh yeah, and I'm just there going, yeah boy,
yes,
I feel you, because they're in their in a first car with a P plate on it, and then old mate gives it a big dose in a car that's not supposed to have one of those,
man,
and like that's all my boyhood dreams come true.
Yeah. You just ticked all your boxes straight up.
Like literally, that's me.
You don't need to replace that car. You're done.
That's 18-year-old me high-fiving mid-40s-year-old me.
Yeah.
Barra.
Yeah. That's why I kind of regret taking the Barra out of this bad boy, but in the same token, it's getting replaced with some pretty saucy stuff.
Well, that's it. And you're going back to sort of 8 cylinders.
8 cylinder.
Well,
I'm going back to the cruisability, to the 500 plus.
So no blower, no forced induction.
No,
just
definitely blower. No. So this setup that's in there currently. So okay, this thing started off as an Atomic 998 package from Atomic. Custom ported cylinder head. I did everything top end myself because I wasn't happy with what came with the motor. I thought we'll let it breathe better. Design of inlet manifold. This motor was the motor that also was in the RX-7. So the RX-7 had been retired. I couldn't really compete with it. It was basically an open class vehicle. My budget was like $2 at the time. I spent all my money on my motor. I didn't have enough money to keep going. So at that point, I'm like, the business is doing shit. I'm going to liquidate. I'm going to keep myself above water, but I'm going to chuck it all in this thing and I'm going to drive it to work. Let's take a race package and let's chuck it in something that's probably not even safe in the sense. This had no seatbelts, man. I got this thing, it had no fucking seatbelts. It had shitty bench seat.
Mate, the good old days.
I actually liked it more when it was like that as opposed to the way it is. It was pretty high. It was one of those high-rise, a high boy or whatever it's called. And man, I would go rip this thing around town. I would go. I reckon it had a 200-litre fuel tank on it with 4 Walbro 460s because at the time that's logically what I needed to keep the fuel happy, like the whole system happy.
That's
and I'm like,
shit ton of fuel.
I remember the first trip I went to Esk, and back in the day with my RX-7s and stuff, I used to drive them out there and drive back, or I'd go Nebo Glorious dark side. You'd play around, you'd fuck around on the hills, you'd come back, and I'd be able to do that with my 13Bs and stuff on a tank. This thing had 200 litres cell in the thing. I got to Esk. I had to put the other 4 jerry cans in it to get back to Goodna. And that's like leaving from United just up the road here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is pretty inefficient. I don't know if this is a good thing.
Yeah, that's not great.
And, man, this thing dusting gearboxes and tail shafts like it's fucking running out of stock because the chassis is just so floppy, It's not really, it doesn't like the horsepower.
Of course, mate, nothing likes the horsepower.
Nothing likes the horsepower.
Once you go north, what is it? 450 sort of
I say
the magical number.
The sweet spot is under 500.
Yeah.
And anything more than that is fully unnecessary for the street.
Totally.
And you have 500 horsepower in the right car. You'll decimate,
Everything.
honestly.
Absolutely.
And you'll be a traffic light king. You have the launches set up. If you're that kind of guy on the street, if you've got 500 or 700 wheel, any more than that, you're just wasting your money.
Yeah, you're just breaking stuff. And
Yep.
this is my theory of automotive.
That's how I roll.
Now that I'm an old man and I know better, I know that when you make something more, then you just break the next thing. And you just, that chain.
That's what happened with this thing, man. It went, first the gearbox shit the bed, so I got another TR6060 rebuilt, Malwood special. That wasn't good enough. I sent the box overseas. It had faceplate gate done. Everything was nice. The thing was, oh my God, it shifted like an angel. You just shove it into gear and it would just handle it. What happened? It just sent the problem further down.
Correct.
Twisting tail shafts,
it finds
1350s.
the next weak point in the chain.
Diffs exploding, axles going. You're like, man, I'm doing this on 225 semi-slicks. They're not even a big semi, and it's doing it on this because this thing weighs peanuts. It looks big. It's a bathtub.
Yeah.
A lovely bathtub. And this... It just gets expensive. It really does.
So, and I've settled at like 380 horsepower, which is still enough. That's
a hoot, man.
You can do number 11s all week.
That all day, every day, and you can drive to and from the track. Comfy.
Here's the other thing. I tootle around town in it, and it never gets on boost.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of power.
Yeah.
And mine's even got factory-sized turbo, but it's got the Garrett, so it's got the big boy.
So that'd be 3884. No, 3584.
Yeah, but you've got the efficiency. You've got a big boy washer on it.
Yeah.
So when it sings right. But you're never on boost.
No.
And that's what I love about it.
Is that? I'm assuming you got like 273 diff gears or something like that.
I don't know.
Long dogs.
Probably.
3-speed, isn't it? BTR?
No. ZF6.
You've got a ZF6 in that thing. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I like that. It's actually quite gangster.
I think that's very good, man.
It's actually really nice. It's very pleasant.
Yeah, no, good. That changes things altogether.
Significantly.
I've got the Galant project, and it's just on off. We're constantly fixing shit on this thing, and I'm at
because it's a Galant.
It's got a barra in it.
Yeah, I know, but it's still a Galant.
Yeah, it's a bit yucky.
That's a fucking hideous car.
It's a fucking hideous car.
I say that with love and respect.
It's so funny because if you look at it, if you give it the 5 mile stare, you can tell people it's a Capella. They'd probably believe you, but then when they get really close, they're like, "This is disgusting."
Yeah, this is a really ugly car.
Why do you have this shit?
You're like, "This is terrible," and you're like, "No, this is fucking hilarious," and that's that. I respect.
Yeah, I mean, it matches the plates or yuck.
Oh, yuck. Yeah.
That's good. We chucked the turbo. Like the motor was, look, you see all these guys with like K36s and K20s and shit, and they've got like, what's his name with the fucking Barra Corolla? I keep forget. Guy King, man.
KE, is it that one? Or
I think so, yeah. And that thing's fine. Oh my God, that's just mental. I look at it and I'm like, this is so good. I need this in my life. And I tried to kind of fit things in correctly, but then I looked at it. I said to the boys here, I'm like, we got a budget of like 10K. I don't want to go further than 10K, but that 10K has to include us doing a FG shortened diff, custom tail shaft, a good gearbox. The motor has to be sufficient. We need a good turbo system. It needs to all work, and it needs to have all the auxiliaries so it's safe. We hit that. Everything worked until it didn't. And as soon as things started breaking, it fucking broke into like a chain. So now we're at the point where I've got to get the car back here eventually when we've got a bit of spare time. That probably won't be this year, just with the way we're going with everything, and that's not a bad thing. But we've got a very, very good drivetrain combo going in that thing, and we're going 6-speed as well. So I've designed up a 6R80 Mustang combo to put into this thing behind the Barra, and then we're going to take the turbo out of the boot, because I put the turbo in the boot because I'm like, I've done it before, we'll do it again. It is an incredible sound, man, having a turbo so close to you in the cabin.
Look, I'm not displeased at this, because that's so dumb.
It's so dumb, man.
It's so dumb. Yeah. It's inspired.
What I envisioned with it was getting pulled over by the police and them looking at it and going, "Oh, naturally aspirated. Nah, fucking, we have no time for this. We'll let this go." And then it's just like, haha, sucker, 500 kilowatts later. You know what I mean? Like,
see you later, boys.
Yeah. So
see, we are children trapped in men's bodies.
Yeah.
And this is what I noticed.
Yes,
is that we gain intelligence and capacity to do all the things that 15-year-old us thought was pretty rad.
Oh, man. If I can go back to a time when I was a kid and I think of all the shit I'm doing now, I'd be so... If I could do that back then,
mate, you would be high-fiving yourself and going, "You, sir, are the man."
If I have a son, I want a son that's me. So I can just throw it all at him.
And
just
you go,
let him eat. Take this in, absorb it.
We're going to build cars together, boy.
Are you ready for this? Look, daughter, if she wants to do it, I'm all for it.
Wrenching.
Yeah,
That's
you've got full access.
Yeah.
Do whatever you please.
Yeah, and you know, all I want to do is start a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I'm fine with that.
And you go, that's cool. Can you film Dad? I don't know how to do this.
It's so funny. The amount of customers that have said to me, like, how come you don't do YouTube stuff? I'm like, man, I don't have time, man.
Yeah, honestly,
I want to.
Yeah, but I can't be fucked.
Yeah, it doesn't. It might pay my bills in one sense, but at the same token, I don't even have enough time to go to bed.
And this is the problem, mate, is you actually need a media team. Like, you need someone. You need to be
a bit
paying
more serious.
someone. And you can't. You can, but you can't DIY it.
No, man. Like, I think DIY only goes so far. You know, you can only stretch DIY so far before it's like, people aren't really taking you that serious. And then when you want to start being taken a little bit more serious, you're throwing dollars at something.
You just have to, because when you are a single person operation, and yes, it's all possible, and yes, you can do it and grind it out and watch Gary V and all the fucking things.
Yeah.
But in the realities of adult life, when you are delivering high-end work for clients, like, something has to give, and they're the sorts of things that you just go, look, I get it.
Yeah.
And, like, it'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of thing where somebody would need to approach you and then would need to have the work ethic that you have, where they just fucking turn up, and they need to be willing to turn up for 2 years and make $1 like you did.
Yeah.
And go, I will teach you how this works.
Yeah.
And I will show you how it will make money.
Yeah, man.
But you have to eat shit like I did.
This is one of those things that, like, you're talking about the grind. This is the grind. This is that shit that the first man, in terms of the sense of the business, is the guy that's struggling to keep his head above water. He's waking up at bloody 5. I just still do this shit these days. I see it. I'll do it with no clarity. I'll wake up every single day, whether I've slept 2 hours or I've slept 10 hours. I wake up at between 3 and 5 a.m. And if I could be bothered to get to work earlier, I'm here at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm staying till 6 o'clock at night. And because I'm so preoccupied with my brain and everything that's going on here, I don't even focus on time. I just get lost in it all. There's just so much to do, man.
There's so much to do.
And if like staffing, man, that's a big thing. Contractors are my favorite, right? I've just swung on contracting so much, because you give a contractor a job, they'll go above and beyond to get that paper. They want money. They want the job done. They want to get in. They want to get out. You employ a staff member and you're sitting there to try and teach them. And although you need that, and I think for any business to grow properly, they need staff. You're in a position where you're basically taking a ride again. Yeah. You're doing it all again, but you're watching that person do it.
Catch-22, and I'm the same. I've employed people, and you end up running a daycare centre for adults. And, you know, again, I say that with love and respect and a fair bit of rudeness. And that's the thing is, I don't mean to disrespect people.
No.
But there are different mentalities between the person who has to pay the bills and the one who takes a wage.
Yeah.
And the thing is that your staff will eat before you do.
Man, I put them first before anyone.
And you can't explain that to someone that works for you, who thinks you're so lucky and you have all this shit. And you're like, mate, I won't eat this week, but you will.
Yeah, man.
You carry none of the risk.
Yes.
And you get paid more than
reaping
I do.
You're
reaping the rewards of what I've bled for. And again, I don't say this with disrespect. It is a different person.
Yes.
Like, you're different animals.
It's an animal, man. It's a completely different ball game. And when someone actually wants to take a step into that actual game, man, you watch people tumble. Watch the fucking pillars collapse.
You need to be a masochist.
Unreal.
You need to be really happy to hurt yourself a lot.
Yeah, man.
And this is the problem. And this is the thing that you struggle with somebody who's built your own thing. And then you know that people won't work to the level that you do. But you go, look, if I could get 80%, but what you'll probably get is 15%.
Yeah, man. Like I literally roll with that in terms of workload. So if I've got, like, say for instance, my offsider, if I'm not confident in him doing a certain job, I'll look at the whole day. And the biggest thing I do, and it's worked, this has worked a treat, right? Whiteboard, list everything that needs to be done within the week, then take another color and then just label them as the real. it's not stupid work. It's just the work that's much more simple for a normal person that's in fabrication to handle. So you separate that stuff and then you go through it again and you really baby it down. You dumb it right down. So then you're like, I know that this guy will at least do this, this, and this, and this fault-free.
Yeah, can handle it.
Yeah, and if there's something outside of that, I have to be prepared to take a huge loss if he fucks up. And man, it happens all the time. And I'm at a point where I'm like, I won't draw a wage. My business is my business. I make sure that staff have their pay. I make sure that everything's done on time. I make sure that all the bills are covered. And I'll always put myself last before I put everybody else that's around me first. And the most important thing by that is, like, I think that in order to have good staff and a good mindset in the workplace, you always end up having to give up or sacrifice yourself so much more in order to keep the vibe happy. And once you start treating people like shit and doing things wrong and, you know, like blaming people and having an argument, you just look at everything around you, just go to shit. Just people are not interested anymore.
Mate, it's terrible. And this is the thing, is I don't want to fight with people, and I find that, you know, you end up dealing with narcissistic people who turn it around on you and, you know, all sorts of stuff and make you feel like the bad guy and make you question yourself and gaslight you and all these sorts of things.
That's a real thing.
And it's a real thing. Yeah. And it's terrible. And you can't, other business owners, people listening to this who work for themselves, will be like, they'll be sitting in their cars going, oh, fuck, mate, I fucking feel you.
Yeah.
But people who have never employed anyone, people who have never paid the Australian Taxation Office out of their own back pocket, like they don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
They can't understand.
Yeah.
They can't fucking possibly understand the mental load.
Man, I swear there's been times where it's not me having a blue with them, it's them having a blue with me over something where it's like, if you were in my shoes, I don't think you'd actually be talking to me like this.
No.
You'd be apologetic right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, if you handled 1/10 of what we handle in a day, you'd probably be crying. And this is the thing, is that you end up having to steel yourself to a point where you can get the shit beaten out of you on a daily basis.
You just get up and do it again.
Just fucking get on with it. And then you get to a point where, you know, you're hardened and you figured it out, and then you go, right, I fucking need some help. And you try to get somebody into this one-man army that you've created. And you go, holy fuck, people are weak as piss.
Yeah, man. You break down it's so funny. I go, I spoke to my partner about this, and she's like, you know, you break down an 8-hour day. What are you doing in an 8-hour day? Well, if I think about it, I'm doing everything, you know. And then before anybody else was here, it's like, I don't know how I was doing my own accounting. I was billing people out. I was discussing deals with clients. I was running around getting work. I was coming back here at I'd occupy the first third of my day with just that stuff. And then the next section of the day would be me trying to start work while my phone is going off 24/7. And then I'm like, whoa, it's 3-4 o'clock. Now I know that other businesses are probably winding right down. I've got a chance to get on top of this shit. I'd stay here till about 11 o'clock at night. Somehow I'd only go home, 2 or 3 hours of sleep, do it again the next day. And you do that for I don't know, I'd say 8 to 10 years straight.
Years. And
it's senseless. Like, I'll wake up now and I'm fine. At any given time, if I need to go somewhere or do something, I'll wake up, I'm ready to go. And I'm prepared to do it. And it's the work and the hardship and all that kind of stuff, that really doesn't even faze me anymore.
And it's fucking mayhem. I'm 15 years in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in my mid-40s, and we were laughing that, you know, last night I worked until 2 a.m. and then you started work at 3 a.m.
Yeah, how cooked is that,
and
man?
we're just cut from the same cloth, because I just had shit to do.
Yeah.
And I had work that had to be done, because when my clients asked me to do something, my answer is no problems. And my first availability, once I dealt with my personal responsibilities and my family responsibilities, I could start working about 11 o'clock last night. And so then I worked from 11 till 2 because I knew that today I'd be with you and there wouldn't be one available minute between gaining consciousness and getting here to deal with any of those things. So I went, I can't close my eyes until this is all done. And that's the mentality. And you do that on day 1 and day 7,000. And it has to be the same with a fucking smile on your face.
Oh, the craziest shit, man, is you take someone that has never been in there, you throw them right in there, they'll fucking, they'll want to neck themselves. I'm serious.
Mate, honestly, they resign. They don't last.
No, man, they don't. And then they think that, you know, the world owes them something until they're in some kind of situation like this. And you're like, man, I would happily close this place and walk into a 150K per annum job pen pusher,
Absolutely.
and understand that if that's all I'm doing, man, give it to me.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Oh, magic.
Within a heartbeat, but I will never give this place up.
No, you can't.
I don't think there's anything that would actually stop me besides, like some kind of health issue or something like that that's really going to slow me down to the point of, like a pacemaker. I can't weld. I can't do it anymore. No, that's not true. I'll jump on some tools that I can actually use, and I'll keep doing stuff, and I'll pay someone else to do the shit I can't do.
Absolutely.
That's just what's going to happen.
And you might be able to wear like lead armor and
Yeah.
still tig at a distance or something.
Come at
like,
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're smart enough that you'll figure
Yeah.
out a way because you're like,
Yeah.
fuck that shit.
Yeah,
You're not telling
can
me I
never
can't.
not.
You
just can never not, man.
You can't
Yeah.
help yourself
No.
when you love this stuff. And
Yeah.
this is, again, mate, this is the whole reason
Yeah.
this podcast exists.
Yeah.
Is I love
Beautiful podcast, by the
love,
way.
and thank you, sir.
Yeah,
it is
it's
it was you. Was it you that gave me the highest honour of, mate, Joe Rogan of Brisbane?
No, definitely.
And I'm very happy to humbly accept that. No, but mate, the fun thing
Yeah.
is this is the thing. This isn't fame and fortune.
No.
This is very selfish.
Yeah.
This is me wanting to talk to people who I think are fucking awesome.
I think it's brilliant.
Because like you live and you work like 8 minutes from my house.
Yep.
You know, my buddy Christian, he's one street over.
Literally walking distance.
was
I can
there.
hear him tuning.
I'll fucking bet you can.
If I've got fuck all on, or
Yeah.
I know that I've slowed right down for the end of the day and I hear shit going on over there, I'm in my car and I'll do a drive-by, and if he's actually there, I'm going to go watch.
And
I just have to. I need to see it.
Mate, we were talking about it earlier, and I'm sure, I've spoken about it. I just think that we're weird as Australians, that we follow all this stuff overseas. We look at all the people in the USA and the UK, and we look at the tuning houses over there and Europe. And I'm like...
Amazing, mind you. But
amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's
we
amazing.
got some good shit here, man.
But I'm like, man, in our backyard, like right here in Brisbane, Queensland, are just some of the most incredible people doing incredible things, but they're so humble that they don't even talk about it. And I look around at these people that I know, and I watch people on the internet, and I watch them on, and you're like, these people, like, you're fucking incredible. And I'm like, why don't we just talk about that? Like, why don't I come to your shed in Cooper's Plains and talk about this? Because I'm like, this is fucking mad shit.
Yeah, man.
And it's the fucking greatest thing I've ever done.
It's such a weird thing, right? I'll come in of a morning, coffee in hand, crack open that door, open the roller door.
Yeah.
Even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll open that fucking thing up. I'll push a couple cars out. I'll stand at the door and I'll look back before I start the day, and I'm like, man, this is sick.
And you smile at yourself.
I do it every day. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, fuck, I want to kill myself. This
Every
is ridiculous.
day.
I can't handle this, And then I do it again the next day, and then the next day, and the next day. And I'm like, man, I do some really cool shit. I don't give myself enough credit.
It's incredible.
For anything.
You don't give yourself enough credit, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to big up you and share your story with people who would never otherwise hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what upsets me the most is in our, tall poppy, be humble, keep your head down, don't tell people what you're doing, don't brag, don't like
keep to yourself, mate. Yeah.
Keep it to yourself. Yeah. And like, okay, that's cool. Don't be a fuckwit, but like, I don't think that there is anything wrong with celebrating hard work and innovation.
I think that's a brilliant thing.
I think that's fucking
There's
great.
a lot of people that we know that deserve that.
Dude. And that was my comment,
Yeah, man.
is that, like, I know all these people that, and, like, they're just, speaking of legends, holy shit, it's Christian Betterway. Look at that. Speaking of the
Here
devil,
we
it's like
go.
we put the bat signal up. Hey, we could almost throw another thing in.
Hello.
G'day, buddy. What's happening?
Would you like to take a seat with us?
Yeah, do you want to look? We're probably going to have to pause the podcast for a minute because we
that's
literally record. It is work day.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a moment because we're going to say what's up to Christian. We'll be right back. And this is what I love about what we do, and this is actually what I'm really enjoying about.
His ears were burning.
I think so. I think his ears were burning. So we just had Mr. Christian Betterway of Sideways Motorsport fame just rumble in because it was obviously lunchtime, and he mentioned something that I've heard you say a couple of times, Placker. This is actually going to take us onto a little side street that I'd like to explore.
Here we go.
I think that the greatest treasure in the Australian eating, catering, restaurant scene is the fucking side of the road hot box shop.
Yeah.
Mate, these joints
man.
in industrial estates.
Oh, they're a little gem.
Holy
they're a gem.
fucking shit. Like the ones you drive past and you're like, ooh, it like looks like a fucking crack den.
Yeah, man.
Mate, you go in there and like for $10,
Yeah.
you're eating the burgers that you remember from your childhood. Like the fucking thing with beetroot and pineapple.
It's
and
falling
like,
apart in your hands,
and
but
it's
it's so
like
fucking big.
so big.
It's juicy.
Oh.
The patty is all, you know what? Common corner store takeaways in industrial estates, they've got a juicy patty. They're not dry.
Whatever they're doing.
I don't know if it's
These
even meat,
places,
but I love it.
because I find myself in a lot of industrial estates with
Yeah.
my work because, you know, clients do big things
Yep.
and they end up in big places.
Yep.
And, you know, I walk into a place and you go, like from the outside, you're there going, crikey, hope it's clean. And you go inside, it's delightful. The people there are lovely.
Yeah.
And the food is fresh and beautiful, and there's somebody in there going, oh, like Mama used to make,
Yeah.
like, oh, and the pork rolls and the gravy, and like we were just talking about the
man.
crackling. And,
Yeah.
oh, mate. So,
I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know what catering company, you know, because most of these places they don't do their own roast pork. They're getting it from somewhere.
Are
But
they?
Wherever the fuck they're getting it
mate.
from, I want it.
We got
Like I told you about the whole roast pork crackle scenario, how it's helped me.
helps all of us because you know what it does? It brings joy.
It does.
Like that is
Yeah. That's
so-
a dopamine hit right
Oh, that
there.
is a massive dopamine hit. So if you've never been to one of those places, go and support the mum and dad takeaway shop
Yeah.
because you have no idea. That is the greatest
Yeah,
lunch
man.
you'll ever have. And they always have somewhere to sit down.
They do.
Mate, they've got
Whether it's-
tables
there,
and
there might be
chairs
shit
and-
tables and chair settings, but man, you feel very welcome
You
when
feel-
you're smashing down that roast chicken gravy
I
roll.
feel so at home. And
Yeah.
I've been sort of sitting on this for a while
Yeah.
and I've been researching it and I'm like, okay, is this an accident? And then I just keep going to these little hot box takeaways.
Yeah.
They're fucking amazing.
They are,
and there's
man.
a lot of people in the know.
No, they're
And you see these joints and they just pump. And there's people in there and like you'd never know these joints exist.
no.
Like,
the
they're not-
real small ones like that are incorporated into like an
into a strip of
industrial.
shops?
Yeah. Oh my god,
They go so hard.
they do. And then, you know what? They will strategically put there to just cater to that unit complex.
Correct.
But you go there and you fucking wait. Your smoker, your 15-minute break was waiting for the food. You're eating and you're smashing that food down on the way back to work. But it was worth it.
So do yourself a favour. Corner shop takeaway. You actually don't realise what you're missing out on.
You're also helping a small business
Mate,
too.
you are putting money in a small business.
They work. They crack.
work
They're cracker
real
dawners.
hard.
They're the guys that wake up before you do, and they're there cooking and prepping your breakfast.
Well, that's it. And they're not paying a 14-year-old,
No.
you know, $8 an hour.
No,
You know, to
it's
fuck
just
up
them.
your order
Yep.
at a drive-through.
Yep.
Like they're hand making it.
Literally.
And you can see the grill and it all happens there in front of you.
Yeah, flavour you can see.
Flavour you can see. It's like the 1950s. All those
Yeah.
things that people romanticise. Mate, that is the industrial takeaway
Brings
shop.
a tear to my eye.
Mate, it does bring it. And this is what I think. I'm like,
Gems, gravy, chicken salt.
when you think
Pay your
about
bill.
it's kind of the, you know, it's the great Australians, or the quiet Australians,
Yeah.
whatever you call it. Very much like what we're doing here,
Yeah.
where we just celebrate brilliance.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway. There's an opportunity for somebody to really sing those songs.
Do you, on the topic of takeaways, do you
Please.
remember a whole period? There was a whole timeline of people doing the whole pie till you die, where they'd go to places and there was like I'm pretty sure it still exists. It's like a Facebook group and people review pies at different places that they've gone to. And I think this might have been what was the last floods that we had? That was like 2 years ago or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they weren't that long ago, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that is very unfortunate. And, you know, I still remember the hilarity. People going to like a BP in Yamanto or something like that, and they're like, this pie was the best pie, rated at like 8 out of 10, pie till you die sort of thing.
That's
And-
amazing.
But I don't hear about people eating pies anymore.
No, well, look, you're obviously in the wrong Facebook groups. I don't know if you'd be the same, but I'm a member of about 17,000 Facebook groups.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, so, you know, I'm in the Banh Mi Appreciation Society and, you know, and then I'm in one about hot
Delicious.
chips and
Yeah.
I'm in one for pies.
Yeah.
My personal make or break is I judge a bakery by its sausage roll.
Oh, that's a good way of going about it.
I
honestly.
have discovered through relentless work, as
Yep.
you can see, I just, you know.
You're a man.
I pat the dad bod there. I've had a sausage roll or two.
Yeah.
The sausage roll is complex yet simple.
Yeah, it is.
And to get it just right.
It can't be fucking too dry.
Can't be too dry.
It can't be too soggy.
Can't be too fatty.
It can't be
salty,
bendy.
Can't be bendy.
No.
And if it is crisp yet flaky.
Yes.
You know, if it is soft, tender yet firm.
Yeah. Right seasonings with the meat.
Oh, if you get that flavour profile.
Are you a sauce guy?
Man, I'm a fucking sauce guy.
What sauce?
Tomato.
Oh my God.
On a sausage roll, it's tomato.
You know how weird this is? I think it might just be the little bit of Eastern European in
Could
me,
be.
but I'm not a sauce guy. I will eat a whole pie. It doesn't matter what flavour it is, or a sausage roll. Raw dog, mate. I won't put any sauce on that bad boy.
Did you get Australian citizenship? They might have to revoke that, mate. That's fucking terrible.
No, I came here on a boat.
Oh, fuck. Well, there you go. That explains everything. Jesus Christ.
I had no choice, okay?
You had no choice. Yeah, look, mate, those Eastern Bloc countries didn't have tomato sauce.
Yeah, no.
You
They had
didn't grow
chicken
up
salt, though.
with Heinz. They had chicken salt?
No.
Made with real chickens.
It's mustard, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love going off track. Sorry, now I just want to pause.
We're good at this,
Go
yeah.
to the takeaway shop.
Yeah.
Mate, what I actually really want to do, thanks to the fact that our introductions run for an hour,
Yeah.
you're giving me the perfect segue into it.
Yeah.
Because I love to know where a person comes from, because it tends to tell an awful lot about the person they become.
Yep.
And, mate, I obviously know a little bit because we've been talking for hours.
Yeah. We actually have been talking for a while, even before we started talking. What, 3-4 hours?
Yeah,
That's how we click.
Yeah, I'm really messing up people's days at the moment.
Me too. I had shit that I was going to be doing. I actually don't mind. This is brilliant. This is very therapeutic.
It's really good, and this is what I try to tell people is they're like, oh, I'm too busy, I can't fit it in. I'm like, I'll here's a tip. You never have time.
You don't.
You make time.
Yeah. Or you just throw yourself in the deep end and you worry about your other problems later.
Well, that's the answer.
I like doing that. That's easier. Yeah.
You know, I got stuff on fire, and you know what? I'll deal with that shit later.
Yep.
Doesn't matter because you know we don't do heart surgery.
No.
Like no one's going to die.
No.
And it's important to remind
get over
ourselves. And if they don't, do you know what? They
they're
can
not worth
fuck
me.
off.
Yep.
And I say that with love and respect, because
there.
I don't need to carry their stress.
No, you don't need the burden of other people's problems on your shoulders.
Absolutely.
You've already got your own.
I've got enough problems.
I
I'm
don't
very
need
good
more.
at creating them. I don't need more.
I can generate millions of them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I am gifted. I belong in the school for the gifted of problem creation. But on that very bizarre segue,
Yes.
where were you born, my friend?
I was actually born here. I was born in Ipswich, which part of me, man, I don't like telling people that, but at the same token,
Fucking
it's just,
own it, mate.
that's it, man.
How good's the Switch?
It's not like I grew up there.
Brother,
I
they
was
still
born
do
there
laps.
because
They do Friday night
They
laps
do.
like it's 1995.
They do, man. They do.
And I love them for it. I
man.
love Ipswich. I represent the Switch.
I ended up there on accident, really. It's I was born backwards, and the story goes that
Like
I
you
think
came out the wrong way?
I came
or-
out the wrong way. Yeah,
That's
not
not
my
great.
brain doesn't work correct.
Yeah, exactly. It makes
But-
perfect sense.
100%. And I still remember, I think Mum was explaining to me, she's like, you know, we went to the PA and they can't do anything there. So they're like, well, where are we going to go? And they're like, oh, they have a doctor there that deals with kids that are coming out like this. We can't cater. Chopper, straight to Ipswich. And she's like, fucking clueless. Like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this? Go there, and it was like a 10, 12-hour ordeal. And here I am today. Amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
Okay, look, that lack of oxygen, that
Yeah.
really made
It
all
really
the difference.
works, man. I am a different person.
Because you go
to the
feet
norm.
first, like, you know, no offense, you were doing it the wrong way around
Yeah.
right from the start. You
Yeah.
were always looking at things and
Yeah,
going,
jumping in the deep end
what's the
straight up.
most difficult way I could do this?
Yeah.
And go, oh, all you normies who go out head first, amateurs.
Let me just do something a little bit backwards.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's look at it the other way around. So
Yeah.
you freaked your parents out.
Yep. I
yeah.
basically induced enough stress to them for them to reconsider me all in all. Basically, I
Can't
reckon.
imagine.
Yeah. So what happened? Another thing too. Like my parents migrated here in like the 60s, 70s sort of thing.
Well,
and
that's it.
I've got brother and sister that are older than me, and I've just basically grown up around a family of straight up Eastern Bloc level people that know no better than just hard work, dedication, and I guess sacrifice, really. Like I've watched my dad my whole life sacrifice everything for his whole family, and in return, he's just happy. you know, and that's a real big thing for me, you know, and I think I owe him the way that I am and the way that I carry on and the way that I do things. I owe it all to him, because if it weren't for him putting me in positions that I still remember when I was a kid, we had this place in Inala, and they all grew up in Bellbird Park in Housing Commission. This was when Wacol had the migrant centre and all that sort of stuff, and they were doing it so hard. Like, broken English, didn't know no better. Dad was doing cash work wherever he could. He's a fitter and turner and an electrical engineer. Come to this country, that means shit, especially if you can't talk English. It really means nothing. So he would do everything and anything that he could to provide for his family. And when they had actually finally had enough money to have moved from the Housing Commission house that they were in, they just basically moved from one place to another. It was just Housing Commission to Housing Commission. And they settled on this shithole of a place, man. Like, he'll agree with me. It's like, it was a fucking terrible place to live. And we were robbed a lot. There was a bad neighborhood. I got along with all the kids in the community were like very multicultural. You had Indians, you had Vietnamese, Polynesian, all that sort of stuff. And I loved it, man. We used to play footy. You do the whole playing till dark sort of bullshit, and you had that vibe, you know. We didn't all have Nintendo 64s and all that sort of stuff. And if my dad was doing something, he would fully get the whole street involved. I remember he was leveling out the front lawn, and we lived on this real funky, you know, like those houses that are kind of like built up on stilts, like a Queenslander, but they're still like semi-concrete slab. And he brought in all this soil from these job sites that he was doing work on, and like packing and leveling. He's doing it all by hand with a shovel. And he's like, one day he just asked me, you know, come give me a hand. And it kicked off from there, man. I'm just obsessed with doing shit. And he's like showing me how to use a stick welder. I'm like, 5 years old. He's showing me how to use an angle grinder. I'm like 10. He's given me a 9-inch grinder to like plate level shit. And he's showing me how to use bricks and all this. Oh, this is so fun, man. Like, I thought it was the best thing ever, and I'm learning so much shit from him. I clicked with him. That was our love language. He was not a loving dad. He wasn't the sort that would be there and like nurture situations, and he was a provider, an all-out provider. If you needed something, if mum said, I need you to go to the shops and do this, and he's just done a 15-hour job, like 15-hour shift, he gets home, he undresses himself, puts his good clothes on so he doesn't dirty the car, because he had this old fucking CB 1100 that he used to just commute with, just so he wouldn't stuff up the family car. And they didn't even have anything special, man. They had a Ford Telstar. Like, my dad gave up, he had 2 XA Falcons. He's had Falcon 500, XB Falcons, GTs, SLR 5000. He showed me all these photos before kids. And that was another thing too, you know. He came to this country 10 years before my family did to set everything up, because it was a communist country that was just so savage, and he's like, I need to get out. He crossed the border, did all the most illegal shit that he could to get here. And he put himself in so many like dangerous positions, man, to be where he is today. And I owe everything. I honestly, seriously, everything that I've got here and every bit of knowledge that I've learned more from him than just YouTube videos and fucking trial and error. There's been times where like this bend pack tool, you know, I don't understand how it works. He comes in here, for some reason, he just knows. He's pulling shit apart, he's doing this and this, and that's what drove me to become a mechanic. That's what drove me to go do a mechanical engineering degree at Griffith. That's what drove me to become a boilermaker. I'm like, I kept getting bored and I needed to know more. And obviously you get a cap, you know, your family can only show you so much, and they want you to succeed. My dad put me in every possible position he could with what money he had to give me the best opportunity. And if I could repay all of that back to him at any given point, or if he ever needed me, I would be there for him. I would drop all my shit for him. It wouldn't matter. Same with my mum, my whole family, you know, they mean so much to me.
Because that's full on, mate.
Yeah.
Like, do you know much about the story of how your dad got out?
Yeah. The craziest thing, man, to what I can understand with mum. So the story with how he got mum out was savage. They went into town in Timișoara in Romania, and they bought a fucking pram. They put mum, who was pregnant with me, and my brother and sister, all together, and they walked as if they were just casually trying to get by into another little area or whatever. And at the time, my dad worked on a drill rig on the border. And to what I can understand, what he was explaining to me is like the hardest bit was they had dogs and they watched 24/7. There was always people watching. And what he did was he put himself in a position where he could actually manipulate that. He tricked these people so that my mum had the chance to cross. She got out. I think it was like the border of Serbia or something like that. And they had to go to Germany to be able to catch a plane to come here. And man, the fucking shit that my dad had to do the first time, he's like, I'm surprised I got back into the country. Because you're going back to like a time period of communism with Ceausescu, and these guys were like ruthless, bro. Like they would, what's yours is mine. You have 5 pigs, you don't. I have 5 pigs. You want some of that, you pay for it. But you're going to grow it and you're going to take care of it, and your house is mine. And all that shit. That's basically how it was there at that point in time until like the regime was over and all that kind of stuff. And man, Dad showing me photos of the places they lived. It's so fucking beautiful over there, you know. It's tranquil. It's all so nice. And they've come to this country as a land of opportunity in the sense. Dad had the choice. It was Canada or it was Australia. And he's like, what is Australia? He comes from a country where they don't learn about anything besides Europe too. So, yeah, that was a journey and a half. They did some dangerous stuff. Mum crossed the border. They tried to get, like, my grandparents out. That didn't work very well. I think they got my grandma here. She didn't want to be here. She got here and she's like, I can't do it, you know. It's too hard. She's like, at that point in time, she's probably like 74 or 80 years old, and she's...
Too much.
It's too much. Too much change for someone like that. And, you know, they grow up in such a simple way. They don't have phones. They don't have TVs. And whatever is on the TV, it's shit. It's the same shit that, like, plays repeat, you know. It's just mind fuckery sort of stuff, you know. And if you could afford a TV, you wouldn't even be there in the first place. Like, TVs were a fucking luxury and a half. So, yeah, and going back to Dad explaining to me, you know, like, oh, you know, your dad, like my dad's dad, so my grandpa, he's like, you're like your grandpa. I see it. I see him in you. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he just, anything that had an engine that would move, the people of the town would come to him, he would pull it apart, he'd somehow fix it, he'd put it back together, he'd test it, he'd give it back. They would pay him with something. And that's just how he lived. He built saws, he built mills, he built all sorts of weird shit because he had the hands and the knowledge. It's all self-taught stuff. These are guys that, like, if you got an ABC 1, 2, 3 calendar in front of them, they'd be like, what am I looking at? But then you give them something really, really hard like that, or, you know, you give them some unrealistic manual labor task, and they just smash it out, man. Like, they do some really, really savage stuff. And, like, seeing my dad growing up and watching him struggle so much, you know, I enjoyed helping him on weekends. I learned so much from him, man. Like, I can recall nearly every single memory that I've had, good and bad, mostly good. And all the bad stuff is all just like life lessons, learning and doing stupid shit, you know. Still remember trying to get out of the house, or I pissed my parents off so much. Like, there's this one good memory where I wanted to go back in the backyard to finish this bike frame that I was trying to make. And this is a 10-year-old kid obsessed with trying to stick weld. Like, I'll pick up a stick rod now and I'll put it in any direction and I can just smash it out, and it's unreal because it's actually a really, really hard task. Like, if you've ever stick welded shit, it's pretty difficult, but yeah.
It helps when you start when you're a child.
Yeah. Oh man, like, it's so crazy because, like, Dad was surprised that I picked it up so quickly, and man, that turned into a real bad obsession. Hey, like,
really?
Dad used to go to, like, St. Vinny's. I don't know. They used to have a pretty big St. Vinny's in Salvo's, man, in Sumner Park, and I used to go with him. This was our weekend thing, and it would be basically going through the junk toys and, like, the pedal carts and shit like that, and he'd find something that was cheap enough that he could fix, or that he could show me shit on it. And I still remember there was this one pedal cart that I had from, like, the age of 5 till I was like 14, man. We kept cutting it and, like, changing it and making it so as I grew I could still use it and play with it and shit. Other kids on the street had, like, BMX bikes and all that kind of stuff. No, man, I had the same thing for ages, but it was so sick. It was so sick, man. Like, you know what I mean? That like, I think that structured me in a way where I look at stuff, man. I don't think twice about doing something. There's always a way of doing it. It's just time.
And this is the amazing thing, is it was ingrained in you that we make something out of nothing.
Yep.
Which inevitably becomes, what is known as like an entrepreneurial spirit.
100%.
But
I believe that.
For you, that wasn't, your dad didn't have the luxury of sitting around and discussing entrepreneurial spirit on a podcast.
Yeah.
He was terrified of what would happen to his family.
Yep.
So he risked everything.
Yeah. To come here.
To come here and then to come here first. And I actually met a fella not too long ago, and he was cutting my hair, and I was chatting to him, and he'd done the same thing. And he was asking me about where he should live at the right price, and asking me about Toowoomba. And he said to me, I'm here and I'm setting this up. I've got my 2 daughters and my wife at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're an incredible man.
Yeah.
And, I'm just this fucking, I'm there as this just privileged born into, my meat sack of atoms, magicked into this world.
Yeah.
Here in Brisbane, Australia, and I won the fucking lottery just by existing here.
Yeah, man, this is the land of opportunity. Like they say that about America. Fuck, bro. Like anywhere where you don't have a government they kind of still do rob us a little bit in a sense, but like they're pretty relaxed here. There's no bullshit, good. It's if you know that the rhythm, you'll get ahead.
But there's the whole thing. Like there's nobody, your family won't disappear.
No.
You're not going to get kidnapped in the middle of the night.
No,
You're not
and that's what they went through.
Fucking ransomed. You're not going to get pulled over on the side of the road and have to pay a bribe to keep going.
Yep.
Like, your wife isn't going to be abused by, a government group.
Exactly.
Like the disgusting things that people do to each other in places where, government spirals.
Yeah.
Is bad, and people who have not seen or experienced or read or understand those things don't realise the blessings that we have.
No, exactly. 100%.
Whereas I talk to you and I'm like, your dad is a gangster.
He's
like,
a fucking gangster, man.
He's
my gangster.
You just want to give that, but like, just go fist bump, brother.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah. Man.
When they talk about stoic men,
he's hard.
Go, you're it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? He does not pull it, man. You talk to him, he'll have his English is pretty good nowadays. He gets on with people really well. He loves a joke. He loves a laugh. He loves a bit of banter. He loves a beer. And it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, and that is like what your father has done. Is that that's the dream that he had?
Yeah.
He had this dream that his children would live a better life than the one he had lived, because he lived a life of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And he saw nothing but horror.
Yep.
And he
didn't want us to see that.
He didn't want his children to suffer as he had suffered.
Yeah.
And so he was willing to cause himself unfathomable pain.
He put himself through turmoil to get to where he is.
To do that, to change that direction. And Australia wasn't a friendly place for immigrants at that time.
To what he was explaining to me, he says he came here and it was like starting all over again, but with someone up your ass 24/7, like literally treating you like shit. Man, like some of the stories he's telling me about, I'm like, man, I wouldn't be happy coming to a country after going through the shit you went through and then being treated like that.
And then coming here because immigrants were treated terribly. I mean, you've got to remember, and this is what's funny, is it seems like it's a billion years ago, but it's only actually a fucking snap.
It's not. It's like what, 30, 40 years ago, not even that.
Like we still had the White Australia policy.
Yeah,
we had there was stuff.
Yeah, he was telling me there's some savage shit going on with that White Australia policy.
Mate,
like,
and this was government
pub and
policy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like if you
How rude,
if you had any colour to your skin that wasn't
frowned upon straight up.
If you were not Anglo-Saxon, you were mud, you were dirt, you were less than dirt.
Scum. You're not
absolute scum.
And that's disgusting, man.
And
it's honestly disgusting.
Terrible. And again, that came from the top down. That was government.
That's how you know there's
policy.
a problem at the top.
And it's revolting, but it was also Again, you go back 100 years, 200 years, you go back a couple of 100 years, and humans as a species, we're fucking savages.
We are.
We are really quite terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset at having, I think that your government actually does need a level of firmness.
Yeah.
Because left to our own devices.
That's a level of structure that's required.
Because we're no good.
No.
We can't manage or organise ourselves.
No, mate. Yeah.
And if it isn't strict enough, it will come undone.
Yeah,
society is this construct that we have where we keep each other in control, and they say that we're 48 hours away from fucking anarchy.
Yeah,
that's no joke.
Yeah, man.
And your dad, he fucking knows.
The craziest thing is when you get talking to somebody like him, and they're watching things change, and they're watching the news, and they're understanding the shit they've already been through, and they're looking at it and they're going, this can only go two ways. It'll only get fucking shit, or it'll get really fucking bad. And you're going to see it soon. Whether it's now or it's in the next 5 years or next 10 years, he's literally, if he's still alive, he doesn't want to be here to witness it. He doesn't.
And this is what concerns me as somebody fascinated in sociology and history, is I watch what we're doing at the moment, and I watch intense nationalism, I watch tribalism, and I look at these things and I go, okay, we're making each other the enemy. Red team, blue team, green team, all these things, or which country. And do you fucking idiots not remember? A fucking heartbeat ago.
It really wasn't that long ago.
A fucking heartbeat ago.
Yeah.
This goes one way.
Yeah.
And it goes a real fucking bad way.
Yep.
And it goes that way because it's so good and we are so ungrateful.
Yep. That's exactly right.
We have not suffered as they have suffered.
If you took the people of today and you put them through the same shit that happened at least not even 40 years ago, they wouldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. Can't fathom it. But you understand the technology we've got these days and all the shit we can do to each other. It's tenfold worse than what it was 50 years ago. And we're capable people of hurting,
humans are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
And this is the thing, is we are capable of immense kindness and immense savagery. And the degrees to which we're capable, there's microns between each one.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot that keeps it going. And, I go back to even, the way that I choose to live my life, the things I choose to do.
Yeah.
Mate, I fucking choose kindness.
Yeah.
Because I look at history, I look at time. You read up on, we're fucking off track here as I always do. But, you read the old, you read Greek and Roman philosophy.
Yep.
They fucking figured it out 4,000 years ago.
They did.
They got it figured out. They understood sociology. They understood control. They understood, feed them, tax them, entertain them.
You'll control them.
Keep it under control.
Yeah.
And I look at that now, and I look around, and I look at the football, and I look at the, this is the circus, this is the Spartans, this is the it's just all the fucking same.
The democracy.
Nothing changes. It's all the same. It's just figured out 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, they just add their own little touches along.
Yeah, we just change it to suit the style of the time. It's not the Victorian era. We're not wearing big wigs. We're not
wigs and dresses and shit.
Everything is the same.
It is, man.
Nothing changes.
You strip it down to its skeleton.
It's all
exactly
been
the same
learned
thing.
before.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes me sad when I see people, going, there's no hope, it's all terrible, nothing's going to work. And they go, I won't be able to buy a house, inflation, boomers had it better, something.
Fuck.
I get it.
Yeah.
Everything is hard. Everyone's existence is hard.
It's always going to be hard, though.
When you hear stories like your family and your father, and you go, okay, I get it. It's really hard for you. I understand. Your university, your parents didn't pay anything, but you have to pay.
Yes. Yeah.
Your dad had to escape a fucking place where he would have got shot.
Yeah, literally. He's been shot at in the process of trying to do that, And it's I can't believe that shit. You know, the first time he told me, I was so young and I just didn't really put it together. And, you know, I always rekindle these conversations with him to have a bit of a refresher. And he'll always have a yarn with me. You know, I can sit down and have a couple of beers with him and I'll just sit there and I don't have to say anything. I just want to listen. And I hear it and I'm like, it actually changes my thought process. So if I'm having a bad day or whatever and I'll have a chat with him, it just changes the way I think about everything that's happened that day. It's a good escape, but it's a access to reality if you really think about that. You know, it's like having a mentorship with someone that has struggled tenfold more than you have to achieve 1/3 of what you can achieve. You know, I've got access to so much stuff that he doesn't even know exists, man. And you know what? He was still able to do all of this crazy shit.
Like with nothing, from nothing.
Yeah, man.
And then with the limitations of government and society telling you to fuck off.
Yep.
Like,
straight up, bro.
All of society, whereas, you know, now we welcome and include, you can be whoever, however, whatever, whereas he just wanted to make $1 and he would have got told to fuck off to where he came from.
Exactly right.
And this is the difference.
It's disgusting, man.
This is the difference, is that, man, like, you can't tell me how hard it is for you until you've sat and you've bought your dad or someone like that and fucking sat and listened to his story.
Yeah.
And then you cry and tell me how bad your life is
Exactly,
in the year
man.
2024 in Australia.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Like, I don't, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a privileged fella. I can't say that.
Man, they put me in the best
Holy
position
fuck.
they could have ever put anyone in. And I think about that all the time, you know. I have a real rough week or whatever, and then you think about it. It's like, man, I could be in a country that literally gave me no opportunity. And then they came here, and my dad still made it, man. He managed to buy a house. He managed to raise a whole family of 5, single income. He managed to buy 2 cars. He managed to have his motorbike projects. He managed to build his own patios. He managed to do all this shit and still support us and still cook and do things with mum and still support and cherish and love. And I don't know how they did that. I don't know how they do that. You have to do so much today. And then I look at the way that they lived and it's like they did fucking tenfold more. I don't have anything to complain about if I compare myself to that.
But the thing is, mate, is they did what you did and they do what you do today.
Yeah.
You know, they open their eyes and they go, tough day.
Yeah.
They go, righto, it's up to me.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And they fucking get out of bed and they get on with it.
Yep.
And I see that work ethic in you because you've obviously, like, you know no different. Like,
I literally,
that's just
man,
how you exist.
I don't know any different. If I commit to an idea, I'll just follow it all the way through. I'll struggle. The struggle disappears with time. Everything just, you're patient enough, you'll get that goal. You'll hit that target and stuff like that. But man, there's some crippling times with that, eh? Like running a business like this, I'm sure it's the same with everybody. It will put you in a mental state that's, you think you hit rock bottom, you haven't. And it'll do it to you over and over again. It'll punish you in the most sinister ways. If it's not a customer that's just ruthless to you, it's that one job that you just can't get your head around. You know, you tried every single thing. You made the mistake of making promises that you could have delivered, but for some reason you just can't. And that breaks you down worse than just not being able to make that money at the end of the week. You know, it's those things that hurt more than actually just waking up to make your bread and butter. It's not, you know, none of that other stuff really matters, you know. And that's why I think it's important to have project cars, and I think it's important to have a loving family, and I think it's important to have the right time and give yourself time and have a break and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, I could say everything that should be right, and I still don't take my own advice because I'm so involved in everything that I'm doing that I lose control and focus of the whole situation. So,
and we do. We lose, and again, this is the reason that I love these conversations. Is we do something that doesn't exist in modern life.
Yeah.
We fucking talk.
Yeah.
And like we share ideas, we share experiences.
I think the hardest thing and that's why I think what you're doing is brilliant, right? Because the hardest thing for men in particular, the stubborn factor of having the discussion, yeah, you can see all these posts online of, helping each other out, all this kind of shit. But when it comes to the crunch, bro, not many other guys are willing to actually stick their head out and actually come to fruition.
No one fucking helps you, mate.
No, mate.
Nobody comes to help me.
You'll, like we discussed, you had a fucking terrible day. You're on the way home. You've got all these terrible thoughts running through your head. You go home, you sit in your car for 20 minutes before you go inside. You take those deep breaths, you get it all out of your system, then you get in there and you've got to still do your washing, your laundry, all that sort of shit. You've got to take care of the dog, you've got to feed the cat. You've got to take care of anything else that needs to be done. And you've already done your 10, 15 hour day, but you've still got a whole life aside from what you're trying to actually achieve. And it's...
Absolutely.
And on top of that, you want to build a race car and you want to go on holidays and you want to do all this. And like society these days is so materialistic in that sense. I don't see it that way. I see it as the idea of having experiences, and that's why I was so passionate about the idea of always going to Japan. Because, like, another thing too, my sister, so she went to Corinda. Like, they came here, didn't know a fucking word of English. She ended up going to Corinda. She ended up doing, like, a languages degree to do the whole teach English in Japan. And, man, because she was doing that stuff, that got me so motivated in every, like, aspect of Japan. All that I took that subject in every single class, all that kind of thing, and I loved it. And then racing cars, that shit just gets me.
Well, look
hot.
at you, mate. Look at the fucking smile when you even just say the words. Your whole face changes into just a painting of joy.
So crazy. You look at like Speed Hunters articles on the Narita dogfight, that kind of thing. I'll go home and I'm like, I'm going on the shitter, I've got my phone, and then what do I know? I've done an hour teleport. I actually haven't even used the toilet, mate. I've read this whole article, but...
It's a brilliant. Crazy thing, mate. And girls make fun of us that we disappear on the toilet, and it's because we have no silence.
Yeah.
Like, nothing stops.
No,
Whereas,
nothing.
Mate, you step into the throne for a minute, and you just...
That's your humble spot.
Mate, there's a bit of fucking silence, and that's where we go. All we do all day is eat shit. So when we sit there with it, you go, this is actually a really peaceful place.
It is. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, my whole life is a fucking steaming turd. So this is quite nice.
You literally, the toilet occupies your time day to day. Some people will do a 2 or 3 hour bender on the toilet.
It's glorious. But and actually, look, when I was in Japan recently, is it the Toto or the
the bidets? That's a different experience. Mate. I remember the first time I went there, it was like just out of high school, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is like, I'm not going to knock it, but this is a bit spicy.
A bit spicy. I'm like, it's a bit raunchy. I'm not across all this.
Yeah, but then you go from like a hotel that's got that to a shitter in like a public toilet, and it's literally just the strip in the ground with the 2 handles, and you're like, there's businessman that has just walked out of here fully suited. That guy would have had to go Starkers to do a shit.
I'm like, mate, how do you lay pipe into a hole? Like when I first went to like Malaysia and stuff, and I went there. And I'm there going, I walked into the loo.
Surely not,
And I'm like, I was over there for drifting. And I was like, I'm looking in there and I'm like, I don't think you can, because I was in a workshop and it was just a space like this and I had to go to the dunny and it was number 2 town. And I'm in there and like, it's not nice. Like, you know what mechanic dunnies are like? They're not nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where's the TP? And like, there wasn't even a holder. And mate, there was just this dirty yellow hose on the ground. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, God.
You're fucking kidding me. I'm going to get hepatitis here.
God.
It's happening.
Oh, fuck. Okay. And like, again, for a little Brisbane boy that doesn't know much about the world.
Yeah.
Mate. Yeah.
Bit fresh, bit raw.
Toilet time in the back of Malaysia is a different experience.
You actually feel more comfortable just shitting in the bush when you see stuff like that.
Honestly, mate. I can dig in a glorious hole. I got that no matter what.
I just won't judge people, You can't judge people in that kind of situation. No, it's a hard one to be in.
Mate, pro tips for the campers. The milk crate, hit it with the angle grinder.
Cut the hole out of the...
And zip tie.
Hey, that's clever.
Zip tie Bunnings toilet seat to the top.
Man,
it's fucking
pretty
glorious.
Good. I've been...
very comfortable.
We're going off track here a little bit, but I saw a thing popped up on my Facebook the other day of like shitters that bolt into your tow hitch.
Oh, I've seen those. I'm going to make one.
Do you reckon that's a good idea?
Look, I've seen, and so what they do is they put it's basically like a big doggy poo bag.
Yeah.
And they do like a big bucket, and then you zip it up. And,
Yep.
and again, mate, when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah, man.
And
Yep.
these are not glorious things to discuss, but they're basic human mechanics.
We've got to. It has to be.
It has
talked
to be
about.
discussed. And honestly, I've looked at those and gone, that's great, because I really have looked at the toe hitch. This is actually something I've been pondering for a while. One of the boys in our dad fabrication team, like we're bad welders, mate. You'd get much comedy from it.
Yep.
So Max, he whipped up the toe hitch hammock.
Yep. Oh, that sounds like a good plan.
And mate, so
are you talking about like a hammock across the back of the car?
Across the back.
No.
So you know how you put a motorbike across the back?
That's a brilliant idea, man.
And so in the tow hitch, it then goes out. It's got two arms that go up, and then you just click your hammock onto it. And I'm like, mate, you need an Order of Australia for this.
Yeah,
I mean, this is Australian of the Year.
That is Australian of the
You're
Year.
on Morton Island.
Yep.
Back of the tow hitch.
Yeah.
Don't need to find two trees. Just
You don't
fucking
need to
boom,
try
boom.
and anchor some pins in or nothing, man.
Nothing, nothing. Because
you can be over the water. You know, you could literally back over the water.
Because it can carry the weight, like the load is there, the spread is there.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, do you know what we need next?
Yeah.
Mate, we need a fucking rotisserie. We need a basketball hoop. We need a fucking TV stand.
This is the problem with men that know what they want, and that if you click with the right group, oh my god, it's
like
chaos.
imagine
Imagine
hook,
camping with this.
Imagine a tow
bunch.
hook rotisserie. Well, see, this is what I do.
Yeah.
You're unaware of this.
Yeah, I
but
am.
this already exists.
Yeah.
I created this.
Yeah.
And
Good.
this
I'm
is how
glad.
it works. And what we do is we outdo ourselves every time we go.
Yeah.
And we go, how could we make this more fucking ridiculous?
Yeah.
And our wives are like, you guys are fucking idiots. And we're like, that is the highest compliment we can receive.
We're idiots until they try it, and they're
And
like,
they go,
"Fuck, this is brilliant,
that's
man.
amazing.
Who did this?
That's incredible.
I wonder who. The guy that's just struggled to prove to you why this is so fucking brilliant.
Us fucking idiots.
Yeah. Takes a few idiots to make something really good.
Because I must say, I really struggle to tell people my ideas because, I like this fucking Honda Spacey scooter that I've bought.
I love that.
Whereas,
man.
see, you got it straight away. You knew what I was doing. Whereas my wife is like, "What the fuck?
No,
Like,
they'll never
why
understand.
the fuck did you buy this piece of shit?" And I'm like, "Well, look at it. It actually has. You can see it when you look at the subframe and you look at the structure and you go, that's actually got a lot going on there. It's got a 250cc motor. It's got a bit of style."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've done some really fast research, and you know where you look for the parameters and you go
just the real basic
the
specs,
real
to
basic
just
stuff.
confirm in your head that this is going to
Confirm
be
in
a
my
good
head,
idea.
and then I've looked at the subframe, I've looked at the structure, and I've gone, you can fucking lower it.
Yeah.
We can run a big seat off it.
Yeah.
We can run like a Bosazuku exhaust.
I like that. If you want me in on that, I'm 100% in on that. Drop it off.
What I've got to do, Bosazuku exhaust,
Yeah.
that'll be fucking sick
Yeah.
because it's got to go.
And double Z's.
What I do need to find is I need someone who can help me with fiberglassing.
Yep.
So think 2001 Auto Salon boot.
Yep. Speakers. Are we going down the route of speakers here?
You fucking know we are.
Yeah, okay.
But it will be part of the
Awesome.
design.
Oh,
so
God,
like,
I like
you know,
this.
coming out of it, like imagine it like a fucking wave with two speakers coming out here pointing at you.
You'd have to have the aggressive paint job to kind of go with this, you know.
So and this also, it just spoke to me.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that like a motorbike, you don't choose a motorbike, the motorbike chooses you?
Yep, 100%.
You're familiar with that?
100%.
Because I've done this. And
Yep.
when I've bought bikes,
Yep.
I've gone, fuck, that's the bike I want.
Yep.
And I've sat on it and I've ridden it and I'm like, that's not my bike.
This is shit. Yeah. This doesn't suit me.
Yeah, this is not my bike.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I saw the Spacey, and like I didn't look at it. I just agreed to buy it because like the vibe was right. Because I bought so much dumb shit, I just kind of can tell.
Yeah.
And I went and picked it up, and I like sat on it the first time, and you know it doesn't work naturally, so I had to fucking Fred Flintstone it and kick it along.
Yeah.
And even just fucking doing the Fred Flintstone, I'm like, yes, yeah, like instantly.
No, 100%. Yeah.
You know, the same as when I touched your I Heart memes, and you go.
Yeah,
This
you're
is it.
absorbing the feeling, the
this is
passion.
it.
It's there.
I can tell.
Imagine
vibe.
the memories on that scooter from every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that's had that. You're absorbing all of that by taking it on and continuing its lifespan.
And
if you don't do something with that scooter, I'll just take it off your hands. I swear to God,
mate. It's all. This is the thing. I literally took it, and again, great disappointment to my wife. Because I had to take my son and I had to do it after hours.
Yeah.
I'm fucking Mount Crosby to go and pick it up.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And like one of the other dads, I borrowed his trailer because I didn't have it, you know, I've broken mine and I busted my ute. It's a new gearbox. Like everything's fucked.
Yep.
But like you throw a holler out to the boys and like within 7 minutes, they're like, yep, out the front of my house, go for your life. You know, and you're like,
Mad.
What's up?
Yeah.
And then we're on our way. And one of the other dads came with me because it's school holidays. We had both the kids.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
Mate, one of the kids got fucking sick and he's fucking chunted in the back of my wife's car. My wife's car still smells like it. She's fucking dry retching yesterday going, what the fuck did you do with my car? Like, absolute train wreck. My whole life is a fucking train wreck.
That's one of those situations where it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Dude. Kind of like the night that I drove home my Barrow swapped XR6. And my buddy Sean, who has, been my mechanic for a number of years, helping me with my shit boxes, he turns up at the house and we both have the glint in our eye. Because I'd said to Sean, I said, mate, come and have a look at the car because you're going to have to look after it. So if it's fucked, I won't touch it. But if you look at it and go, it's okay, I can handle this, then we're fucking on.
Then we're on, And that's trouble,
Oh, it's so bad. And she's like, what the fuck are you two up to? It's like a Tuesday night. Where are you going? I'm like, yeah.
Long story short, I need another car.
And then I come home and
I need it.
My wife tells the story that she stayed up late and because I was obviously having to ninja into the house and then not have to deal with it till the morning and just go, surprise.
I've done that in previous incidences where I'm like, oh, I need this one thing. And I do recall one time I needed to buy some machinery and tools and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, my missus knows that I shouldn't be spending any money. And I've just on the sly going to pick up some materials and stuff like that. And I've come back and this shit's in the trailer. And she's like, what are you doing?
What the fuck have you done?
I'm like, oh no, I need it. She's like, what do you need it for? I'm like, it's for work. It was not even tools, man. It was a fucking, what was it? A KX80 big wheel. 1989 resto project.
We are the same man. So I come home and my wife's like, what the fuck is that? And I'm like, it's for work. I use those same 3 words.
Yeah. You can't question that because you don't really know. And do they know? Honestly,
and look,
no,
it kind
don't.
of is. Like, I mean, broadly speaking, it's a mechanical thing in a place that you do things.
The fact that I can touch it, it's mine.
Yeah, it's for work, and
the justification's there. It's already done. I've made the decision in my mind. It's like back in the days with boost cruising, right?
Yeah, boy.
Remember those times where you're like, I'm kind of fucking bored with this car, and you always offered swaps and all that sort of shit. And
fish tank.
People are always happy to do that too.
Do you know I've never done a swap?
That's kind of crazy. I went through a time period of my life where I was over a car because of an ignition coil would shit the bed. And I'm like, I can't be fucked fixing this, but someone else will. What is there? I'd get on there and I'd see, you just type in swaps into the search engine and you just see all this shit come up and you're like, fucking, there's some options here. I'm going to test the waters here and see what I got. I remember having like 5 or 6 RX-7s at one stage. And my dad was like, what the fuck are you doing with all of these, man?
This is great. I've actually got a trail bike that, like, I've fixed it and now it's perfect and now I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do swaps.
Oh, my God.
I've got a 1979 XL185.
This is
and I don't want to sell it.
This is a problem.
Because it's not worth, monetarily, I don't care.
Yeah. If you were to sell it, though, it wouldn't even cover the cost of whatever it was. But
absolutely not.
You could swap it for something, but you want to swap it for the right thing.
Yeah, if my wife's listening, I did all the work myself.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest, it's not worth because I've kept it so it looks like a fucked out farm bike.
Yeah.
But
which is the shit.
It is front to back.
Yeah.
Like had to order parts from Europe.
Yeah.
Like everything, bushes, the whole bit, all the stuff you shouldn't do because it's so
spiral,
dumb.
Man.
But you have to because it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
And that swaps. All right. So if anybody's down for a 1979,
should we bring this back?
XL185.
How come there's not like a boost? Is there a boost cruising Facebook page?
So there's
like a marketplace.
I like
Facebook
that you're trying to bring us back on track.
I just think it's good,
mate. I think we need to swaps. Actually, there was the beer economy. I don't know if you saw that. That got shut down.
What was that?
Yeah, it was where, but you do stuff for a carton of beers.
No, I still do that.
Yeah, it's a bit out of vogue. It's getting less.
People don't do it that much. The guys that do honour that are usually the old school commercial guys.
Mate, it's the OGs.
Yeah, they're the guys that are like, they're a concreter, they're a fucking chippy. They needed that one job. You've busted your ass to get it sorted for them. They repay you with the bill and a carton, or they'll be like, here's 100. It might be the time, man, like it'll be a 2-second job, but you save their ass. They come back at you with a hundy. And they come back at you with a carton of beer, and you're like, "Oh man, do I deserve this?"
It's mate. That's
Australian.
That's the tip of the hat.
It is, man. It's like good day to you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My Alfa Romeo mechanics, mate. I used to take them a bottle of Crownies at Christmas time. Like, this is the late 90s here.
Yeah.
Because, like, that, there was no higher honour
Yeah.
than fucking Crown Lager.
Man, that's such a fucking overrated beer, isn't it?
Look, it tastes like shit.
It tastes like
you know,
shit.
In the
It's
year
just-
1995,
Yeah.
that was sophistication.
To me, for some reason, whenever I think of Crown Lager, it just puts this fucking idea in my mouth. Like, you know, you go to a steakhouse and you order a steak, but they sell you like an LV bag, and you've got to eat the LV bag, but it's just not, you don't consume that. It's not good for you.
No, it's terrible.
Crownies are not good for you.
Look, I don't care. I think they're great.
I'm sorry.
They're kind of like our shit boxes, mate. They take me back to
They
a
cost a
simpler
fuckload,
time.
and they're the bare basics, man.
Not at the Chinese joint in Coonabarra, mate. $6 crownies.
Oh, that's cheap.
Yeah, that is my favourite. Yeah, next time you're driving to Bathurst.
Yeah, okay. I'll
The,
do that.
Chinese
I'll
joint.
have a crownie just because you
Mate,
asked me to.
in Coonabarra brand,
Yeah.
and they're $6.
Yeah,
Genuine 1972 prices.
I don't really understand that. They must not have inflation in that place because
Mate.
that beer here would be like $20 a
That'd be
hit.
$40 here
Yeah.
in Brisbane. But
Is that
again,
a Crown? That's premium.
that's because, 120 square metres is $1.5 million. There's, you know, our economy's a little bit broken
It's a bit backwards.
in that sense. And
Yeah.
look, speaking of derailed,
Yes. We're good
we
at that.
were, well, look, where we were was we were talking about your origin story.
Yes,
Like
yep,
we're a
sorry.
fucking Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Mate, we have had your family battle
Yes.
to get here.
Yes.
You've been getting taught life and the way
Yes.
by your father.
Yes.
You are building things in your backyard. You're
Yes.
making your own pushy. Mate, the
Yes.
other kids must have fucking loved you when they broke all
Man,
their shit. Were
I'll
you
tell
fixing
you what, we're
everything?
going through high school, and I used to have guys with their downhill, like hardtail mountain bikes and shit. They'd fuck them up. The dropouts would split.
Yeah, you snap them.
Come to my house. Let's do
Ah,
this.
you were the
Let's touch
man.
it up and let's go for a fucking ride.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Because
It rolled like that, man. I did every tech class. I was the guy in tech. I've got a mate, Pete, and this guy's fucking. He was my best mate in high school. He's still my best mate today, and we've grown up the exact same way, right? This guy started his own building company. I've gone about fabrication, and very fucking hands-on people. Like, we used to do everything together. Even when he left high school in like year 10 or whatever, we'd hang out every day pretty much religiously, and we were the shit in high school, man. You know when you got those kids that were just always in tech, always fucking with stuff, and they always had the time for some reason? I never failed anything either. I got an OP, but I wagged like any class that I could, and I try and get myself ahead so I could buy time to go do other shit. I still remember in high school when I wanted to get I wanted to go buy car parts. I'm like, fuck, I can't afford this, but like, what's an avenue of actually affording this kind of thing? So I'm like, I'll become a mechanic, I'll do a school-based apprenticeship or something like that, and I'll get my foot in the door there, and then what else can I do to keep in the same industry? I got a job at Super Cheap Auto.
Yeah, sensible.
Cheap parts,
Yeah.
and I work in a shop that
Staff
had a dyno
prices.
and all this fucking bullshit. And it was brilliant, It's in that time period of my life, I'm like, that was actually very, very hard. I had 2 jobs. I had to do full-time school. I was helping mum and dad all the time. I was doing shit with my family, like, whenever I could. All my money went to mum and dad because they went for a time period where they had nothing. Like my old man was very, very unwell, and he had problems with his back, and he couldn't go to work. And you're a young teenager. You're actually a fucking problem. Honestly, I was a fucking menace. The shit I used to do and the stuff I used to bring home, I don't think I helped them in any way, shape, or form. I think I gave them so much stress. That my dad's head would have fucking exploded with all the shit I used to do.
Yeah, mate, you put so much load on his shoulders, you took his back out. And
I
he's like,
put his back out,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
like, for fuck's sake, boy.
Yeah. And man, like I don't know how I still managed to do like 2 or 3 jobs all through high school. I got my mechanical apprenticeship completed. I got bored of that. I went to uni because I finished year 12 all the way up. I got an OP.
And
I
what
went to
year
uni.
was that? So give me some context.
So uni was 2008. So I'm fresh, man. I'm pretty fresh. And while I was in uni, I was also doing a Boilermaker apprenticeship. So I was doing both to try and tackle them as soon as I could. And when I think about that now, man,
You're
I think
a sucker for punishment, hey?
Yeah. It's one of those things though, where like, because my dad had said to me, I need this of you. I want you to be. The funniest thing is he didn't want me to do fabrication. Honestly,
Really?
he wanted me to go through, finish like uni, finish school, do all that shit.
What was his hope? What did he want?
He was hoping that I would not be on the tools, man.
Really?
He really didn't want that for me. He knows that I loved it, but it was one of those things where I'm like, I got to a point where I'm like, I'm actually not happy. Like, I'm not happy doing this. And it's costing me money. Dad's like, oh, you know, and at that time in my life, I was doing so much shit. I was barely home. They never really saw me. It was very, very hard. And I could barely afford to pay for my petrol. Like, it was terrible. I did that to myself, though. 13B Turbo Bridgeport Series 1 RX-7. What do you expect?
It's not exactly a Toyota Corolla.
No, it's not, man. And the funny thing is, this is going back to when they're like $6,000, and it cost me like $5,500 to rebuild the thing myself. I did most of that shit myself.
But you also needed to be a mechanic to own one.
Yes,
otherwise it cost you $1 billion.
I still remember getting pulling over at Indooroopilly Junction there, and the thing overheated. I'm like, why the fuck are you overheating? Looked at it, it did a front seal, and I'm like, you fucking kidding me?
Every time. Yeah, mate, Phil's Rotaries, they...
I used to buy so much shit from there, it's unreal. And I used to buy things that I preemptively think I needed.
Yeah, because you go, that's totally going to break.
Yeah, man. And that's how I ended up with, like, I think I had like 4 Series 4 RX-7s, I had an FD, so Series 4 FC, I had 1 Series 5, 2 SA22Cs. This was accumulation, right? This is me buying shit thinking I need it because I think I'm going to break something. The car got to a point where it never fucking broke, but yeah, it's sucker for punishment, man.
I can tell. Like anyone that abuses themselves, like your sadomasochism extends to your vehicle choices with fucking Rotaries. I mean, you really like to hurt yourself.
Yeah, they're a fucking bucket of shit, man. When I think about that now, that's why I fucking love barriers. I don't have to try so hard.
Well, they're so simple.
The quality there is fucking brilliant.
Like Rotaries are amazing, and I enjoy them. And I mean, as a science experiment, they're fucking gorgeous, but to own them...
Yeah, just the maintenance behind it is actually not that vigorous until you start modifying the fucking things.
Yeah, well,
and you know what? That's boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Who leaves that shit stock? Because stock 13B is shit.
It's so boring. Yeah. Because they don't make any noise. Whereas if you got a Rotary... Like,
that fucking...
Like you want to... Yeah, if it doesn't do that...
Michael's here.
Yeah, if it doesn't make the fucking dumb noises, it's the same as having a turbo that doesn't dose. If you don't have wastegate
if I can't hear a fucking wastegate or a doze or a fucking blow valve, you're a bitch.
Absolutely.
You're a bitch.
What it needs is all of them, all at once.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You want the whole. If the car doesn't know how to say achoo, I am not impressed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, and man, oh God, turbos, right? Turbos are the way.
Do you know what? My first turbo car, because I've been so poor for so long, my Land Cruiser is my first turbo car.
I don't believe you. No way.
2018 or 19, whenever I bought that. Because, again, I have been so poor for so... Like, I drove a Hyundai Accent up until 2015 when my son was born.
Yeah.
And I would have happily kept driving it. Like, car was worth $1,000. I think I had to pay someone to take it away. But because my wife was like, you cannot put our son in that.
No.
But you just, like, you go without.
Yeah.
And all I wanted, oh, my God, I remember going at a friend's, like... Series 2, 200 SX, slanty headlights, pearl white on its guts, big wheels, leather interior.
Do you remember the Fast Fours articles from back in the day? Even the sex... You know what? I'm a sucker for sex spec.
Buddy, that was my era.
That's the forte.
I was, like, before we sat on the loo reading Speed Hunters, I sat on the loo reading Hot Fours. And at Mum and Dad's house, we had a magazine rack in the dunny, and it was just chockers with Hot Fours, Fast Fours, like it's all I read.
Yeah.
All my dreams, like I dreamt in chrome, AME model arts, pleated interior.
Pleated interior. And it had to be cream leather.
Cream leather.
Oh, man.
Inverted subwoofers, floating amplifiers, TVs in the mud flaps, PlayStation in the glove box.
Yeah, that's the high barrel that led into what fucking Exhibit did. What was that? That was a Pimp My Ride.
Pimp My Ride.
Oh, God, everyone knows that show.
Mate, in the 2000s... That was when American Chopper.
Oh, that was my fucking favourite show.
Dude.
Honestly, I reckon I learned so much about that.
I bought the DVDs and I just watched that shit on repeat.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even fathom that you could, like, do that. That was the first time I saw people, like, just making shit and going...
They're making fucking fuel tanks. They wave the oxy over and he's like, now we'll just heat this up and anneal it, and now we're going to force the fucking thing from a flat sheet into a dome.
Yeah. And
they do it in the same episode and you're like...
What the fuck?
You're fucking with me right now. That's not how it's done. Surely not. I don't believe you. give it a go yourself, you're like, fuck, that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And then I met dudes that do it, and they like start showing you, and you're like, holy fuck.
Oh man,
and
you
it's like,
fucking love that.
It was
shit,
that show that made me go, you can fucking make anything.
You
Like,
really can.
If you can picture it in your head,
Yep.
and you can explain it, or you can learn how to do it, you can take that thing in your head and you can make it real.
Yeah.
And that was like, I still remember, like the spider bike where he made the web that floated over it.
Yeah.
Like that was life changing for me.
I like that, man.
And how they would do it to a level, and I don't know if they're any good, but I've never heard terrible things about what they do. But the work looked great, and
everything
were
that was in the
aesthetic.
show was very. It looked on point and stuff. I do remember Jesse explaining that like his dad, he had like a real bad falling out with his dad, and some of the shit on the show was too out of character and it was very nasty. What do you expect? Like,
terrible.
You see how they talk on that show and how the shit they were doing in the behind the scenes, you're like, oh fuck, that makes total sense.
But mate, it's a family business. Like, there's no family
you want
business
that
that's
savage
not
shit
psychotic.
happening, otherwise it's not good. Yeah.
They're all fucking psychotic. Look at our fucking family businesses. It's all a shit show.
No, it is.
And I watched that and I'm like, I'm fucking glad there's nobody following me around with a fucking camera while I'm having a nervous breakdown in the driveway.
Yeah,
like, nobody needs to see that.
I don't think people need to see that.
Nobody needs to see that.
Power of positivity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to see. I don't need people. I remember that one where they throw the chair and it's turned into the meme.
Yeah.
And it's like the dad and it's a fucking
Yeah. That's the shit.
Oh, that show.
Do you remember Chip Foose?
Oh, how can you not remember Chip
Man,
Foose?
that actually, I think that was when I started fucking with Bog, bro. I swear, like, I didn't understand Bondo or Bog or anything like that, and I watched a couple Chip Foose episodes on, like, MTV back in the day, and I'm like, oh, was that Discovery? I don't know, but it was fucking, man, I watched
It was
this guy,
cable.
like,
I had to go to rich people's houses to watch it.
yeah, man. I went to I had my Vietnamese friends that seemed to have
Yeah.
cable and all this fucking karaoke stuff, and it was always a good time. Yeah, and you'd watch these guys, and they're like, the whole side of the car is just flat, and then they've sculpted a fucking Bondo flare, and they've like foam-filled shit and done stuff, and then they show it painted at the end of the episode, and you're like, fuck me dead, bro. Is that all out of Bog? Like, I want that. Oh, God. And half the shit was not proper metal work, man. Like,
See, that's you've just given me an idea.
Yeah.
That's we should do some 2000 style Bog.
I reckon
this
we
is
should,
what the spacey scooter needs.
Yeah.
Like just low budget.
The problem is that's not low budget to me, because I can take that like sheet of alley and I can just anneal it, and we can really change and shape it and contour it and put a fucking 6x9 in it, or a 10 or a 12 or whatever, and it's done and dusted. Aluminium backed, foam fill the inside, paint it, it's ready to go. You know what I mean?
Stop
But Bog
talking-
is expensive, man.
I was going to say, you're just fucking talking dirty to me, as I imagine.
That sheet's probably like
behind the spacey.
$130. We could do like fucking a whole car's bonnet with that sheet, but
Christ.
you get like $80 worth of Bog, you couldn't do a whole car.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean?
It sounds like a challenge.
I'm not trying to talk you into anything, but I think we should do something.
I like where we're going with this. See, you've got to. I was saying this to somebody the other day. Actually, I think it was the mechanics at the bike shop, because I preempted them, and I'm like, just to ensure that we stay friends.
Yeah.
I understand that this is bad.
Yeah.
Take your time,
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
rush.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know this is bad.
Do not kill me. Yeah.
I know this will be bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I've discovered is there's people that get it.
Yeah.
And you just speak to them and they're like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking mad. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Mad.
And it's like
Yeah.
when I talk to you and you're like, oh, fuck yeah. And what you do is you do this and that and something else. And I'm like, yeah, boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Whereas some people, they're like, but why?
Yeah,
And
no.
I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like,
that's
this
the wrong
is,
person, man.
you know,
you don't need that in your life.
I don't need that negativity in my
No.
life.
No.
We are like Italian Renaissance sculptors. You know, like, is it Michelangelo carved the marble and makes the fucking marble look
That's
like
exactly
it's flowing?
what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
People
like-
come to us.
It's exactly the same.
We're crazy.
We're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what idiot, like the Sistine Chapel, like, what idiot goes, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? Fucking upside down, paint a roof.
Yeah.
Like,
That's beautiful, though, right? But someone thought out of the box.
Absolutely.
If someone didn't think out of the box, you'd never see that
You'd
kind
never
of
see that.
creativity. It'd be shit. It'd be like that crappy fucking half-rendered shit with a couple tiles and some fancy features and shit on the floor. I don't even look where I'm walking half the
No.
time, but if I'm looking if I go to like the Renaissance, I'm amazed. This is beautiful.
oh, and the ornate. And
Incredible.
and see, I love like a nice frame, or I love,
yeah.
you know, when you look at the craft And it doesn't matter what it is. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's a fucking door frame or a tile or, and you look at it and you go, holy shit, somebody has obsessed over that thing.
Man. Yeah.
And that's where I lose my mind. And it's the same. So obviously cars are my preferred flavour.
Yes.
Because I like the experience and, you know, two become one and boys to men, you know. I can hear the song as I get in it and you have your Paul Walker moment.
Yeah.
And you become Vin Diesel at the same time.
Yeah.
Like this is just our preferred flavour of art.
Yes.
Like we make art.
Yes.
And that's what, you know, I look at your Ford truck. Like to me, that is sculpture in the same way that you go to the Museum of Modern Art.
Yeah. It's so funny.
This is my art.
You probably do the exact same thing with your own projects, right? I'm obsessed with Porsche GT2, GT3 RS. That's my retirement car. I'm working towards that.
Because that's the pinnacle of engineering.
If I've got it, you know I've made it, and that's where I'm setting. Like I've probably made it already, but that's not where I'm at. Mentally, I need to have that Porsche. I need a Porsche. I need it now. And the thing is, right, I'll put that Porsche GT3 RS next to this, but I'll look at this because this interests me a lot. It's rough. It's got character. It's bold. I can take this to the shops. I don't care if someone fucking opens the door on my door. That thing hammers, mate. It sounds sexy. It goes good. It's got good wheels. The interior's nice. It smells weird. It's all those things that like kind of set your senses off and it puts you in a mindset.
It's what they do at a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, it's the senses, and what you talked about. It's the smell. It's the sound. It's
they
the
put it around you. Yeah, you're engulfed by it.
You're engulfed. In the experience of that automobile.
Yeah. That's why 80s and 90s fucking race cars are drop dead gorgeous.
Because they're just fucking mad.
Raw.
Like our boy Christian there, who now works on that fucking Bluebird, I think it is. Like he's got into the classic racing. Yeah. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I've seen that. He's been taking a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Because like those, like the 80s and 90s race cars.
Pinnacle performance, in my opinion. I don't care about this new technology. I love it. Like, I love everything that we offer now. But, man, it just... We all grew up around that. That's what sets us apart from the current generation to us.
And we lived through, or, you know, give or take, like the 1990s was a very special time in automotive.
It was, man.
And you look at the stuff, and people post it now, and you see it on Downshift and stuff, and like it's got the 1990s, and it's got, you know, Supra, NSX, GTR, like all the manufacturers, all the Japanese manufacturers.
They all had their own variant of some performance level vehicle.
Fucking mental. And they were so beautiful. Like even the shit ones, like a 300ZX. Like,
man,
they're
people say they're shit. The right body kit.
They look beautiful.
I reckon they're good, man.
I think they're shit because
Poor
of
man's Lambo.
Mate, you try to get your hands in that fucking engine bay with that
shit
V6
engine,
and the heat and the that was what turned me off it. I'm like, I test drove one and I'm like, had a Christmas tree with all the lights on. I'm like, fuck, walk away.
Man. Yeah, that's dangerous. That's a fucking money pit right there.
But the S chassis and the Skylines, oh god, just all of it. All of it was just superb. And the turbochargers, and then the stuff that I love, like the stuff of legend, where Japanese tuning houses were going to
JDM
Le Mans,
rivalry was heavy in the 90s, man.
They're fucking taking Le Mans prototypes. On, you know, 1 gun, 2 o'clock in the morning, and
sending
just
them
fucking throwing down 300k an hour.
Top secret.
Dude.
The old school top secret that I still remember watching Option. And like, this is the thing that my sister did, and she did so well for me. Every trip, before I actually went myself, every trip she would come back with a fucking Option mag, the first DVD of that like season or whatever. Can't understand shit, you know. I'm really young and I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my god, this is my life.
Like,
I know what I want.
Yeah,
I know exactly what I want. I want to do that.
I want that.
Yeah,
whatever the fuck that is.
If that didn't exist, I reckon I'd be fucking working in hospitality, hating my life. You know what I mean? But thanks to cars.
Thanks to cars.
Seriously, thanks to cars. Thanks to my dad. I'm thriving.
And this is the thing, it's because, you know, my old boy's mad into cars.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anything, like he didn't have anything special. Again, he's driving around the fucking Ford Falcon. Like I learned to drive in a Falcon.
Yep.
And that's part of why I enjoy them so much now is like that.
That's why I like Ford too.
Takes me back because that's what that was the work car. And it's like, why you got that? And he's like, it's cheap. Yeah, and he had like this metallic purple one. And I'm like, fuck, that colour's a bit weird. And he's like, why'd you get that? And he's like, it was even cheaper.
Yeah.
Like,
the justification there is
like
ridiculous.
A fish's asshole because he's like, nobody wanted that because it's so shit.
The funniest thing is they also didn't give a shit if it looked shit. It just had to get from A to B, but we don't think of it like that. No. We think of it like that's fucking a limited edition EA Falcon or whatever. Like my old boy had a EA Falcon. The last Ford that I know he had. EA Falcon, it was champagne, fucking peel, fucked paint. The motor had weird fucking noises. The aircon still worked. It had been in like 5 or 6 accidents at this point because my mum was just a ruthless driver. Like my dad sold a manual Telstar. That was his everyday commute because my mother couldn't drive manual. So they ended up with this EA Falcon, and he's like, he bought it because it was the cheapest fucking thing on the lot that he traded his car for. We're going back to a time, when they were paying like 2, 3, 4K for something, and that's like, that's expensive. That's expensive for a fucking car. And man, my dad looked after that thing meticulously. He had us washing it with him. It was an experience in its own. I actually look at EA Falcons all the time and I'm like, looks good.
Magic.
My dad thinks it looks shit. He looks at it, he's like, that's a shit car.
Whenever I see EDs on the road, I like nearly fall out of my car.
Yeah.
Because it just that was the time. Like VNSS.
Oh, bro.
Like,
do you remember the time period of toll booths with the coins on the fucking motorway?
I used to get my $1.50 worth out of that fucking thing.
I still remember going with my brother and sister, and they had mates that had like VNSSs and VP Commodores with blowers and shit.
You'd throw your coins into the coin basket,
leg it,
and the fucking thing would go up. And
Gone.
You'd be at full
Get the
noise,
fuck out of here. Yeah.
And you'd absolutely fucking redlining every gear. I mean, the joy was my car was so slow, you could redline all 5 gears and only get to 70. So it wasn't really a problem.
Yeah.
But
it was an experience.
And that was always my joke. I'm like, got to get my money's worth out of this. Like, if they're going to fucking charge me.
Yeah.
Do you know what grinds my gears? I'm old enough to remember that they put the toll gates in and they said, once we pay for the bridge, the toll gates will be going away.
That never happened, eh?
That's fucking lies.
It's just increased and increased
and
increased.
I go, we fucking conveniently forgot about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I go, I remember.
The craziest thing is, like, if you go, like, Ipswich and you're heading towards Goldie, and you can still see where the old framework was, where all the old signs, the ticketing signs and shit are. I look at that every single time without a doubt, and I'm like, man, that's a time. My kids will never experience that.
Yeah, they have no fucking idea.
They have no fucking clue how fun that was. And it was such a simple thing that people made so entertaining.
Oh, mate, those gateway ones, I have glorious memories. God, and I'd keep coins in my ashtray so that I could do the toll booths.
Yeah.
That was fucking good.
I still remember Dad had bought this thing from like Overflow or like Crazy Clark's back in the day, and it was one of the coin holders. It had like the $2, $1 slot.
Fancy.
And
like in the taxis.
Yeah, straight up like the taxi ones. It's like a little small tray that kind of clipped underneath where the tape deck was, and it would just fucking load it. If we know that we're going to the Spit, it had coins in it on Friday. We're going on Saturday. We're going on Sunday. One of the days it's fucking happening. Dad would be like, yep, let's put all the fucking shit in the car, the umbrella, the deck chairs, everything. Everyone get in the car, let's go. And I still remember that clear as day too. It was fucking brilliant. You can't change those times. You really can't.
They're special. And this is why I, certainly in my experience and then the people I tend to know, that's what it is. Like, these things take us to a place. Yeah. And they just bring great joy in, because, life is confusing and messy and untidy, but there are memories that we tie to these things. Yeah. And they just, they're locked in. Oh, mate, the untold joy I get in my XR6. Yeah. I can't describe it to you.
No, you don't have to, because I understand you. I totally get that, man. I love that feeling. My
car has the Tickford wings on the dash. Man. And I just look at those Tickford wings.
That's special.
I dreamed of Tickford performance.
It's so funny because it's not really a lot, but it's so much. Do you know what I mean?
So much. And they were so shit at the time. Yeah. I mean, they were just, it's not an overly impressive car in any sense. Yeah. But there was the style and the shark fins. Because when I bought mine, it had fucking 20-inch like disgusting wheels on it.
Is that not just the
that I
standard?
just like I was vomiting, and I had to go hunting for shark fins.
Yeah.
Actually, here's a fucking good side tale. Very hard to find a set of shark fins.
Yes.
Found a dude, and his name's Josh, and he's now my mate because I went to go and buy a fucking set of shark fin wheels.
Yep.
And I rock up to this dude's house, and I took my Commodore out there because I've got a VE Ute, which is the best car.
That's they're fucking brilliant.
Mate.
You dropped off that single overhead cam motor to me.
Yeah,
with that Ute. Yeah, no.
That one, mate.
Testament of reliability, that thing.
Bought that off one of my clients for like $1,000.
Oh,
like
fuck,
10
can't even
years
fault
ago.
that. Yeah.
Like that car is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Except I need to do a gearbox swap because it broke it.
Oh. The one thing no one fucking likes to do as well, and it's actually not that hard.
Look, I'm sure it's not that hard, but what I laugh at, because like there's obviously a problem that needs to be fixed, but you buy another gearbox for $500.
Is it good?
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you don't know though.
But it's $500. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Just put it in, see how long, mate. If you get another
100%.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years,
You don't mind. You'll do it again in 3 or 4 years, and you actually won't complain then
mate.
too.
The car's got 400,000 k's on it.
Yeah, that's fucking pretty good for one of those.
Mate, it is treated with pure abuse.
Yeah. That's surprising. That's probably why it got to 400,000 Ks, because you abused it. And you know how
absolutely.
things go. You abuse them, they come right back to you.
Mate, that's actually like the Hyundai that I was talking about earlier. That car ran on pure abuse.
Yeah.
Like I would put new oil on top of old oil.
Yeah.
And it just didn't stop. It actually got to a point where I couldn't stop laughing at how poorly I maintained that. And I did it for years.
Yeah.
And it just became a running joke.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this car just won't fucking stop.
I had that exact kind of vibe with my Stagia. That I had an R34 front converted Stagia. It was barrel converted. I just built it as a dedicated drift car. That I almost put it on the street until I got rear-ended at one of the Mitsuris or something. And I'm like, I can't fix this fucking shit. And that was one of those motors where we did a factory rebuild turbo motor, all the whiz-bang little accessories, head studs, valve springs, tummy chain, all the staples to this motor. Did 2 years of full-blown fucking abuse. Yes. I didn't even change the oil.
I fucking can't believe it.
Ethanol, it was running on fucking E85. This thing never, I swear to God, it lived on my trailer. I would take it to the fucking track.
And
I would make sure it starts on the trailer before I'd go. Because I'm like, if it doesn't start here, it won't fucking start there.
No. But it just loved it.
It just fucking, man.
These cars.
Bells and whistles, seriously.
Honestly, if anybody listening is looking for their first car, 2002, give or take, Hyundai Accent, mate, that
reliability.
Car, I don't know what, like, there is a level of engineering in that vehicle. Because you think about Hyundai heavy industries.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. Hyundai might have made the fucking ugly 90s bubble car that they go racing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Hyundai heavy industries, they're not fucking around. They're not playing.
They're really not, man.
They are not playing.
You know their CNC machines are something else.
I have absolutely no doubt.
They're fucking animals, mate. They are designed for absolute torment. They will rip
torture.
material to pieces, and they'll do it for years and years on end.
And much the same as their cars, because I honestly can't believe. So this thing was an auto, and not only would I like just abuse the fuck out of it, I learned how to handbrake slide in that car. So there used to be a dirt road that would like down Yatla Way, and I could take that dirt road as a shortcut.
Are you talking about the exit and you turn back around and come back up like towards Beanley sort of thing?
Yeah,
it was just fucking dirt and
like
shit on
Business Road. And, it's now. I went down there recently to just try and relive my youth.
Yeah.
And it's now actually all tarmac.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wonder if this would work.
Yeah.
And I got that car to a point where I could like go gutter to gutter with the handbrake.
That's scary to do too.
Dude.
That's actually harder than actual drifting, man.
Mate, I could make this fucking Hyundai dance and like just full noise. And I mean, just like it's butter and you're just there just going fucking left to right, just hanging it all the way out, just fucking skull dragging this thing.
Oh, and it's a feeling, isn't it?
Oh.
It's a feeling.
And I actually got it to a point where I could actually carry it onto the roundabout sideways, hit the handbrake one more time, have it come round, and then just. So
your transition between point to point would be putting the handbrake down.
Correct.
Allowing it to grip up
you just had to hold it. Yoink. Yeah, correct. And so all of it was just handbrake technique.
Oh, God.
And then throttle control, and then just learning how to. And I didn't realise how well you can slide a front-wheel drive car because, again, in my mind,
Yeah.
I owned that pearl white 200 SX
Yeah.
that I couldn't afford.
Yeah.
And I went, well, look, I'll make do with what I've got.
Yeah.
I'll at least try and like car control this because I've done
Yeah.
Macca's trays.
Macca's trays is my fucking
Have you
favorite
done
thing, man.
like I physically did Macca's trays?
Yeah.
I procured some.
Yeah.
Obviously, I must have paid for them legally and
Yeah.
acquired them through.
Yeah.
correct
No,
terms.
I'll admit I've stolen Macca's trays.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
When we get hauled in front of the court and go,
Where are the trays?
Mr.
Where are they?
Mr. Stanciu, it has been alleged that you stole multiple McDonald's trays.
I'm almost certain that every single McDonald's franchise has like an extra 100 of these in
Mate,
stock.
if I
These
owned a
kids-
McDonald's franchise, I would actually start maccastrays.com.
That'd be a
and
good
I would be
idea.
selling those fuckers out the back.
You've just think about it. Think about what you've just said. Imagine designing a Macca's tray that's
Jesus
made out of that
Christ.
fucking Delrin or some shit that's very, very heat friendly, that has a groove in it to access your tire.
Oh, God.
We find some guy in China to just pump out
Here
a whole
in
bunch of
real
like,
time.
instead of McDonald's arches, it's an upside down W or something.
Oh,
It's just-
God.
It's backwards. It's all backwards. But then you just provided a whole
It's the
generation.
golden arches of front-wheel drive cars. Because,
that's a thing.
Mate, it's a thing. We've just done it.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'd better register it before we post this.
This is how great ideas come
This is
about,
how
man.
Look, I tell anybody who works in creative industries or people, kids who want to work in it to come and talk to me.
Yeah.
Good ideas start as shit ideas.
100%.
And
man.
what you got to do
Seriously,
is you just got to be comfortable throwing the idea out.
you have to fuck some shit up in the process as well to actually get somewhere with things.
And then you refine the idea.
Yep.
And as a man who builds things,
Yep. Over and over again.
and this is probably a really good segue into getting back onto fucking track.
Yeah, we've done it
Because we're
again.
currently,
Oh, God.
we're currently deciding
This
how
is-
we're going to start
We've
a
been
side
talking
business
since like 9 o'clock, mate.
building Macca's trays.
Yeah.
And again, this is, and people don't believe me, and I've said this so many times on this show.
Yeah.
People go, how the fuck do you talk for 3 hours? And I'm like, you don't understand.
You click with the right people,
And
you'll
it's
talk
like,
all fucking day,
What do
mate.
you know, like when you go camping,
Yes.
and you're there and you're sitting with a few fellas.
If you can, you know it's a vibe when you're all around that fire or you're all getting ready and you can just shit can the whole time and you
And
can
you just-
enjoy the whole fucking time.
Absolutely.
It's not like, when you do one of those sporadic camping trips with like 2 families.
Yeah.
You don't know the other family properly. So you sit there and you're like twiddling your thumbs around the fire. It's like, so what are we doing tonight? It's not like that with us.
No.
No fucking way.
when it's like,
We're engineering something right
absolutely, we are currently designing
I like
something,
this.
and you're sitting there talking about it, and you come home and your wife goes, oh, so what's going on? How's their house build going? How's their kids?
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh?
Beg your pardon?
I'm like, oh, fuck, we didn't talk about that.
I'm
It's
on
like-
something bigger.
It's like, okay, you just spent 4 days with them. I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you do? Oh, like, oh, mate, we rebuilt the potato cannon.
Yeah.
We made a fire that was like,
Yeah.
I think we must have burned like
We've just
4
created
ton of timber.
a new fucking way to start fires without actually fucking
Absolutely.
throwing 20 litres of petrol at
Oh
it
my
and
god!
complaining.
We built a power system to run a 240 volt generator. We're actually currently deciding. We took a power pack out there that was big enough to run our commercial deep fryer out in
Yeah.
the bush. No, dead set. I'm not joking.
Fuck, how funny would that be? Seriously.
No.
Did you actually do it?
I've gone.
Oh,
I've done it.
Man, why have I not been introduced to this
This is what I'm
situation
saying.
earlier?
No, mate.
I deserve this.
My last Gordon Country camping trip. This is I love. Yeah, I bought a commercial deep fryer. But I made sure the amperage was correct.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So that it could power cycle
Yep.
off the big boy thing that
Yep.
we had.
Yep.
And then mate, I walk around at sunset. Fucking deep fried wings.
Oh,
Dagwood
man.
dogs,
That's just completely
Like-
that. You want to go camping then?
mate. And again, I only do it because I like to out-stupid myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I go,
But that puts you in a very, very comfortable position out in the open.
it's magical.
You can't just get that. You can't just have it either.
And this is also what enables, because I go, and this is what I say to people, mate, it's not fucking stupid if it works. When the boys then go, and then the guy makes the fucking hammock off the back, and we're like, that's fucking sick. And
I
then they're
like that, man.
And then all the boys are like, that's fucking sick. And
Yeah.
then somebody else goes, hey, I've got this idea. Does anybody know? And we're like, fuck yeah, I got
Yeah.
one of those. Hey,
Yeah.
have you got one
Boom.
of these? Like,
And
yep.
it's all fucking
and
happening.
all the boys just hit all their things,
Yeah.
and then we like put something together.
Yeah.
The last last trip we did, we went to Moreton Island, and I had like 25 dudes there.
I could live there. I love that place.
It is paradise. Now, my idea for that trip, I had 2 goals. Number one, I wanted to be able to have, I've had this idea in my head, I'm like, how fucking cool would it be to like have a full fucking DJ booth?
Oh, fuck.
But like battery powered on the island. Look, that was surprisingly complicated.
Yeah.
But I fucking did it.
Yep.
So, mate, we had,
Yeah, made it happen.
Yeah, so we had full DJ set going on there. And then the other thing, I went, you know what would be really cool? I went, how fucking good is a margarita machine?
Margarita machine.
Margarita?
Margarita.
You know, yeah, sorry.
Like a slurry.
Yeah,
the
fucking slushy machine.
Man, they're fucking brilliant.
And so we got on the internet. We went, righto, how much is a secondhand slushy machine? And like I went around to a few of those catering businesses, and I'm like,
see what the go is.
I'm like, oh, these are pretty fucked. And we got on that Viva.com, which is like
Vivo, the fucking industrial tool fucking Chinese thing.
Chinesian thing.
Yeah.
And like for $1,000, we got a commercial. And what we did was, again, we just put the boys together and we went, you can put in $0, you can put in $1, you can put in $100.
Yeah.
There's no judgment. There's no...
Yeah, just whatever you can.
If you've got the capacity, go for it. If you don't worry about it.
Yep.
It's for everyone.
Yep.
And we bought it.
Yep.
And it arrived.
Yep.
And then we went, fuck, we got to make stuff. And so we went and found like the commercial supply place. And we're like, righto, they do margarita mix and this and that and something else. And they're like, righto, boys, you know what we need? We need margarita testing afternoon.
Oh, this is
And then we like... And same thing, like all the dads just turn up at 3 p.m. and
you're getting on the sauce.
Like we get the margarita machine going.
Yeah.
And then we took that fucker to Moreton Island and like we had it seat belted into the front of one of the dude's cars.
Yeah.
And people spotted it on the barge.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you have a fucking margarita machine? And we're like, what's up?
That's downright judgment, man. Especially if you got it from the wrong person. They'd be like, these fucking cunts. They got a margarita machine. We couldn't even pack a fucking esky.
Absolutely. But like we also have custom made stubby coolers for every trip. And like we're
brilliant,
we're
man.
fucking all in. We're 10 tenths.
That's good.
Mate, we went through 120 litres of margarita. 3.
That'd give me a fucking headache, I think.
But see, what's also amazing is we also have a keg system.
Yep.
So we found a 12-volt keg system.
No,
same thing.
you didn't.
Yeah. So we did a group buy.
A beer keg.
Yeah. Mate, we had fucking 7 kegs of beer on these.
I don't even... Where are you guys? Where was I?
Yeah, well, mate, this is what I said to you. I said, you don't know this, but we need to be friends.
Yeah.
I said, you don't realise
like
this, but we're the same person.
My level of stupidity like that it goes without a doubt.
But it's so good.
I like it, man.
It's so good.
Only good things come from these things.
Only good things come from it because the first time we went and we're like, oh, let's have fucking funny with it, be to have kegs of beer on the beach. Yeah. And so we did that, but we had you had the keg running through like an esky.
Yeah.
So it runs through a coil to cool it down. To
really cool it down. Yeah.
And we're like, this is pretty shit. We're like, this is really difficult. And we're like, like has clearly figured this out.
Yeah.
And we found these fucking 12-volt kegerators.
No fucking
And
way,
so
man.
we've got, and so we just, you put gas into it, you tap, and you put your beers in. And then one of the boys has a full beer system, and he's like a master brewer. He's a banker is his day job.
Yeah.
But he's a master brewer.
So he's good at fucking alcohol. Yes.
Also, and then that's his job.
Yeah.
And so he makes the beers.
Yeah.
And then and again, you go, righto, boy, what do you need? And just
imagine having like you go to like the Point Lookout or whatever, and you've got like one ute that's set up as a fucking little bar. You've got your beer, you've got rum and coke, Jack and Coke. You have all these different options. Do you imagine how many minds would be blown to have just to witness that, And you're not a messy person either. You take your mugs, you take your staple jugs that you can just keep reusing. You're not there to do any wrong. No harm. You're there for a good time.
Well, this is the thing. We're here to bring love and respect to the island.
Yeah.
We only do these things to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's we get the little parasols, so you got like the little umbrella in there as well, and the little fucking flamingo. So you got the whole shebang going on.
Yeah.
And like your red party cups.
Yum.
Oh, mate.
That tastes better in a red cup.
A lot of red party cups. because I put in a beer system at home. I put in a keg at home, and bought the fucking. You get them at Costco in like bags of 100.
Yes, man.
And honestly, that was another one of those ones where I went out and I'm like, oh, I've got to go to Bunnings, and then I picked up my keg system and brought it home, and my wife is like, what the fuck is that? And I'm
what
like,
are you doing?
Oh, that's our new beer keg.
You do the right thing. You're like, come have a look at this, and it's never a good thing.
So you can also get 5 litre kegs, and then I figured out, I was like, fuck, you can put other stuff in them. You can unscrew them. So other things that I've done is I've tapped wine. So I have Sauvignon Blanc on tap. And then, because I got involved in this coffee company, I was like, fuck. I'm like, you know what this needs?
Coffee keg.
Mate, espresso martinis on tap. So you know what I did? I fucking did it.
This is a business avenue all in its own. You do realise that.
Oh,
you could literally have just a fucking, like a ute like this, or even just a Falcon.
Well,
rigged up to the days with all this shit, and you could just stop off at like Eat Street.
I don't
Liquor
know.
license. Boom.
If you have seen the canopy that I've been putting on a trailer.
No.
So
tell me about it.
All right. So what this started as was I went, what I want is a fold-out commercial kitchen for when I go camping.
Yep.
So imagine it like Optimus Prime, so it made like transformer noises and like...
Yep.
And it has one of the blokes that comes with us, he's a chef, owns a couple of really good restaurants on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And he said, right, what you need a flat plate, you need a deep fryer, and you need a hibachi.
Yep.
And I went, righto. And so I went to a commercial catering store and I bought all 3.
Yeah.
And then this vehicle is called the Mungatron.
Oh, man.
Because that's
on, brother.
Yeah, it's the Mungatron. And so I did Mungatron version 1 last year, which was the deep fryer and the coffee machine and, fucking 3-phase power.
Ridiculous.
I'm currently building Mungatron version 2.
What's that got?
Same shit, but more stupid.
Have you got a 3-phase generator?
Oh, not a 3-phase. I can run 2 15 amp.
I think if you ever needed that, right? You understand that I've got generators. I've got 3-phase generators.
I understand.
I've taken them to Morton before just to power stuff, and it's like I'm the only guy with enough power to power houses on this island.
And look,
it's a brilliant thing.
I like where you're thinking, because one of the things I've also struggled with, and I've started pondering, is I'm like, I probably need to make a cold room, because what I would like...
Imagine having a smoker, like a cold smoke unit, that's full-time in the back of your ute, and you can have like jerkies and all, like the dry smoke options.
You're right there with me.
I could do that.
Because I had this theory... Because one of the other things we've started doing is we like menu plan for like 6 months.
Bro, that's
And
good.
we slow cook everything. Everything cooked on the fire, everything by hand. Like we eat like kings.
Yeah.
And so, you go and buy the finest cuts and then you treat them with respect.
Imagine, I'm just picturing now, those reels that you get that pop up and the guy's in the mountains chopping with one of those fucking tomahawk steak knives, and he's making this fucking refined, beautiful steak dish, and you're I'm hungry. I'm going to go to McDonald's now.
This is us. My buddy Jimmy got me as a gift. He got me a full fucking set of forged knives that have "Living the Dream" engraved in them.
That's the shit.
And then one of the other boys, he's made me chopping boards, and that are custom chopping boards.
Yeah.
So we've got all the shit.
I like that a lot.
It just continues to escalate.
Yeah.
And I like that.
This is that child as an adult factor where you've got so many skills and you're able to just have access to so much shit that if you were a kid with all of these options, you'd fucking overwhelm yourself. But as an adult, you're like, I need the next thing now.
Yeah. And
I'm onto the next thing. I've got it. I need the next thing now.
It's amazing. And it's the joy of sort of the side projects and
you need that stuff in your life.
It helps us to deal with the severity of day-to-day operations.
Yes.
Is that when you are considering what the Mungatron might require, like its underbody lighting and its laser system.
All the good shit.
It's fogger because it's got a
Some people would say that's unnecessary, but I don't believe that.
They'd be wrong.
Bit. Yeah, I don't think that's unnecessary.
They'd be wrong.
Yeah.
And it was even down to the fact that one of the boys, his family, has a solar company. And, they've been...
Mungatron.
The Mungatron. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
And I went, hey, I've got this dumb idea. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Have you got some fucking like badass commercial fucking roof panels? And he's like, yeah, brother, I'll hook you up. I'm like, excellent.
How heavy is this thing?
Oh, look, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a race trailer now that's just chocked to the days. You've got your race car, you've got the ED in there. People walk in. You've got a bar. You've got all your shit set up for the bar. They've walked past the bar. I'm talking about a trailer that's unrealistically long here. This is what I'm picturing. As you walk through, it's living the dream. There's up in neon signs. You go through, there's a fucking pantry. You've got all your dry stored meats and all the goods that you need to just provide all the boys for the weekend. But this is not set up for the weekend. This is set up for the year. You're there to supply them all the time. And you've got it all.
You have painted the picture.
Yeah.
So something I was very fortunate to experience was the Ferrari team that we worked with, who are based out of Switzerland, so Kessel Racing, Ronnie Kessel, who is an absolute gentleman, their catering truck.
Yes.
So when Ferrari GT3 does catering, okay, so they got a big fucking red B double.
Yeah.
This thing, so the sides...
That'd be Woolworths on fucking wheels.
It turns into a restaurant.
That's
so
fucking
like,
brilliant.
You know, a big red Ferrari truck opens out, spread out, roof, the whole thing, and you can seat like 60 people in there.
Yeah.
And you walk into this thing, and it's like you're in a fucking restaurant.
It's on.
Except it's a B double truck. And you've got your Italian chefs in there making you a meal. You're sitting down with your linen and your bloody cutlery, and you're in the middle of a fucking race paddock.
I'd enjoy that more than racing, honestly. Racing's brilliant, but when you see that kind of thing and you've got access to that kind of thing, oh my God.
They do it like nothing I've ever
treat their
seen.
staff like kings.
I've never seen anything like it in my whole life.
Yeah.
And this is basically the poverty Australian version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This doesn't sound very poverty to me. It sounds like you've ticked a lot of boxes.
Look, it's pretty good. Actually, and like,
I like the way
he was
you're
on the
going
money.
with this.
So the hibachi,
Yep.
if you've seen those, that's fucking all the rage on
That's
MasterChef.
all the rage, yes.
Mate, I've got a commercial hibachi, and you put... There is something wrong with me. Interestingly, the street that we're on, there's another wonderful local business who I get my charcoal from.
Yep, the
Ironbark.
Low and Slow.
The boys just over here.
Have you seen their truck? They got like a C10 Chevy, or one of the boys that works there. I don't know his name, but man, I'm like working out the front here, and I hear it before I see it. Then I see this thing just swinging past me, and I'm like, I've just dropped all my shit. I'm like, I need to know where the fuck this is going. I've run straight to the street. And I'm sitting there like, where is he pulling in? Where is he pulling in? He's pulled straight into there.
Of course he has.
Like, I got to go talk to this guy.
What a king.
An hour yarn.
That's what happens.
Brilliant.
Because you go, what a legend. You go straight away.
Then I found out he
like,
does barbecuing stuff. It's like, oh my fuck, this is... I didn't even know you existed.
Yeah.
That's how sheltered I am here.
Mate, they're bags of charcoal.
Yep. Second to none.
And again, you don't understand until you've like slow cooked meats for like 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
Like what you cook with and the
It really
grade,
makes a fucking difference, man.
the flavour profile of what you cook
Yeah.
is like night and day.
Man.
And then the dude who works with him, the other half of the business, is a dude who started like commercial catering seasoning, so jackalope.
Yeah.
And I met him at a barbecue show because naturally I went like, it's like fucking meat and beers. I'm like,
man.
Me and my neighbour went and we fucking smashed beers and ate smoked meat. And we're like, this is the best day of my life.
I love that.
And I met this jackalope dude who makes these things, and he does this like SPG, so like salt, pepper, garlic. And you go,
garlic salt.
And you go, that's not very complicated. And he's like, no. You go down, it's like, it's the ratio.
Yeah.
And
It has to be right.
And I'm like, all right. He had like 8 different things. And I'm like, I'll have one of everything, please. Yep. And then I took all this stuff home and started making it and doing like pastrami and like, but that SPG. And then he does like a pickle dust as well.
Oh, man.
Mother
pickle
of
dust.
God.
I've only tried that recently. That is a fucking game changer.
Mother of God.
You
that
never
is
pick
the
that.
secret.
It is a secret. It's no longer a well-kept secret. It's just a secret, but it's fucking delicious.
Like,
I'll put that on anything nearly.
Oh, mate.
And you know what? I don't like pickles.
No. Well, look, I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
But the pickle dust and like the jackalope pickle dust, holy fucking shit. I do stuff that would sometimes make, meat smoking people cry. way off topic here, but like you get your beautiful thing. You get ribeye, like big thing on the fucking bone, big tomahawk style thing.
Stuff, yeah.
Mate, mustard as a binder.
That's great. I know where you're going with this
Amazing.
straight away. Yeah.
SPG, and then he does one that's got like a little bit of coffee grind in it, and then you put a bit of pickle dust over it.
This is how women should talk to men if they want them.
Fuck.
You know, when women want men, they need to talk about this stuff.
Oh, mate. And
Cars and meat.
And then I use like seasoned iron bark that I have delivered from a man. So it's beautiful iron bark.
Yep.
And then their charcoal, and you sort of use different ratios depending on what you're going for.
Yeah.
And then just fucking 12 hours, get it to...
That sounds fucking orgasmic.
And you try and do these things. Well, actually, that one you can do in sort of 3 hours.
Yeah.
But like you do it, and you bring the thing up to temperature before you put it in. You got the fucking probes in it, and then I've rejigged my barbecue. So you can run them on. I don't understand it, but like house gas and then like your LPG.
Yeah.
And they've got different flow rates.
Yeah.
So I put the wrong flow rate one in mine, so I can run my barbecue.
What sort of fucking lamps like something savage?
Yeah, like off its head.
Yeah.
So it's fucking nuclear. I can get the plate to 400 degrees.
Fuck.
And I know that because I've got a temperature laser, because of course I do.
Yes.
And then like you pull it out and you do your perfect medium rare and you fucking just hit it both sides, go full nuclear, like
you're
60
zoinking
seconds.
it. Yeah.
And
Seal
then,
that deal.
Oh, mate, then you rest it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you cut it with your own custom. Oh, Jesus
It tastes
Christ.
different when you do it like that.
Mate.
If you just if you go buy a steak and you just slap that shit on your barbecue at home, you don't do fucking any of the prep, it's shit.
Mate, reverse searing a steak will ruin steak for you, because once you have reverse seared made with that kind of love.
Yeah. The one time, so a friend of mine, Aaron, he's one of my best friends, and this guy, we go back like 10, 12 years. This guy's bought we all pulled in to get him a Kamado Joe, the big dog. I'm not that much of a connoisseur when it comes to barbecuing. The way that we barbecue is very, very simple. It's almost pizza oven-ish. It's not really, you're not going too deep into shit. It has to be hot enough to not fucking make you sick, but you want to cook your meat. He's done some fucking steaks for me on his Kamado Joe, and I don't even want to cook anymore.
No, it ruins you.
I fucking can't do it, man.
It ruins
I can't match that standard. And the problem is that if I try too hard and I let myself down, what do I do?
And this is the problem, is much like learning anything else, you fuck it up quite a few times.
I'm sure he fucks shit up, bro, because it was maybe a year later that I actually had this steak at his place after his birthday.
Once you've practiced, once you've nailed it, and once you sort of, like learning to weld or anything else, once you learn the magic and you fuck it up a few times, and then what you do is you follow the formula and you know how to make it dance, you know how to, like, you learn the rules and then you can break them.
Yeah, I get you there. I get you there.
Holy fuck. Now I want a steak and we're so far off track. I want to know, we're going to fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
Because we'll be here until next
midnight,
year.
Easily.
And I've got to go to the high-tech oils drifting. Actually, what time is it? Sweet baby Jesus. All right, no, we'll be right. I've got like 15 minutes. Mate, 2 hours, 40 minutes. We've been banging for a while. How did MDS Fab even start? How did you start here? How did this happen?
Everything started when I found myself struggling to find work. So I was straight out of trade. I couldn't hold a job purely because I was too young to a lot of these people. I had a lot of skill set. Skill set really doesn't mean shit in this industry. They want guys with like long-term experiences locked into certain positions and all that sort of stuff. So like, I did specialized pipe welding. I did heavy fabrication. I did stuff in the mines. I've done all sorts of shit all over the place, and scattered myself enough to understand how to do most things. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck, this is getting really old. I'm just gonna have a go. I had about 15 grand. I sold my FDRX7. I rolled my FDRX7 with no insurance after I bought it, imported it, fucked it up. I'm like, I'm gonna part it out. Got rid of it. Put as much cash as I could together. Started my first workshop, and It was so tough, bro. Like I remember it was like $600 a month, and I was complaining about how much the rent cost at this time. It was in like Browns Plains, and I got in with my Sparky. That was like my best mate at the time. He's still my best mate. I haven't seen him in such a long time, and I invested every single dollar into that workshop, and it was weird because we shared a workshop with some random fucking four-wheel drive place. To be honest with you, they're a shit show. They were stealing shit from us. I got to a point where we started making gates and like closing off little areas and stuff to stop people from just walking in and taking stuff, because they were doing that when we weren't there, And we grew to a point, when I say we, me and my old man was a part of a lot of the startup stuff, I had to go run errands. I had to go do something. I couldn't just leave the place by itself. If my mate, that was a Sparky, wasn't there and he did a lot of on-site shit, I'd have my old man there. And I'd always run things backwards and forwards to my old man. I'm like, what tool should I buy next? Do you reckon? Like, I'm trying to aim and focus on doing this kind of stuff, but like, workshops were coming to me actively, and it was getting progressively. It was happening so fast, man. It went from the first year of just absolute raw dog struggle. Like, I only had enough money to pay mortgage repayments and just nicking the rent. And I was fortunate enough that, like, being in a European household, there was always fucking food, man. You'd get into the fridge and there's always something there for you. Or if you were really hard up, Mum was always just like, do you need help? It was really good. And I'm so thankful for that, And I think the first 2 or 3 years was absolute struggle street. We were in Browns Plains. I didn't like it. We went from Browns Plains I decided I'm going to go rent another shed. So it was another shed and another workshop in Salisbury. I did that for a little bit. It wasn't that great. I just stopped doing that completely. And I thought, you know what, this is really not working. You'd have like these massive wins, then you'd just fucking dump, and then you'd have no money, or you'd have no work for like a month or two or whatever. And you'd like running around like a headless chook trying to get the work in. And this is going back to a time where Facebook advertisement and all that kind of shit, it really didn't help enough. And you had to know the right people to get in with places. And I thought about it. I'm like, nah, we need a bigger shed. A couple of my friends back then were like, we'll get a place in Sumner Park, and we got it was like 300 square meter place. Pretty good. I did the walk, and I walked all through Sumner Park, and then I'm like, this is not enough. I went to every shop. I made my own business cards because I couldn't afford to get printed ones, which is pretty pathetic when I think back to it was like $50 for like 1,000 of them, and I couldn't even justify paying for that. So at the time, I made all these little shitty business cards, and then I bought a stamp off, what's that fucking website? That's
Vistaprint.
That's the one.
That's
Everyone
the
fucking, it's the cheapest fucking thing.
Shit. You order once and
fucking
never
so
do it
shit.
again.
Yeah, I've got business cards from then. Still, I've got one or two, and the fucking quality's terrible.
Too embarrassed to give them away.
No, I kept them. They were so shit. But I still remember, I got a stamp from Vistaprint instead of buying a card, and then I bought all this fucking fancy paper from Officeworks, and I would just stamp the fucking paper, and I'm like, look, this is not a special business card, but if you need any welding services or whatever, this is my number. A couple of weeks go by, nothing's happening. I'm like, fuck, I'm starting to really chew into my savings again. It's all happening again, and I'm like, I'm fucking hitting the dumps again. What are we going to do from here? And then all of a sudden, it just kicked off something fierce. Can't keep up. What do I fucking do? I had like, at the time, High Power in Moss Street was sending me fucking cars all the time. Then their clients were picking up that High Power was not doing the fab, and that wasn't like, they weren't going behind anyone's back. They're just like, we're outsourcing the fabrication to this guy. And then the Honda scene is where it all worked out so well, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Mate, was this with Ivan?
High Power Lee.
Mate, he's the king.
Mate. He, adore that guy, man. He helped me out a lot.
Did he?
Yeah.
Do you know that warms my heart because I always had wonderful experiences with Ivan.
I sent him cars to get tuned whenever I could. I always recommended everybody to go to him. He was the only person that actually in the industry that wanted to help at the time.
Really?
Yeah, it actually seemed like it was a dog-eat-dog situation where I was never, ever, not a single time am I ever wanting to step on anyone else's toes. I won't walk myself into some other workshop and go, I'll offer you like 20% less. I'll always walk in and be like, this is my card. These are the services that I offer. If there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate. Call me. I'll come out. I was even doing shit where I'd be like, just to get people on my side and actually have work coming through the door, I'd do the first jobs for free. Some of the jobs were fucking big, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, but then the return came, you know. Everything started
you
coming
proved
back.
yourself.
And, yeah, man.
Because sometimes if people don't know you and they'll
Yeah.
go, "Who the fuck's this punk?" and you're like, so this is what I was saying about somebody with video skills. Like,
Yes, man.
prove it.
Yeah,
This is
man.
the thing, is you have to go in, fucking prove it. If I'm going to
man.
give you money, you're nobody, I don't know who you are. You're telling me you got big chat, show me.
The craziest thing is, like, I walked away from an avenue of income stream, you know, like doing shit for Komatsu and you had Power Transit and stuff, all these places that were big in, like, the Philippines and mining sector. That's fucking solid money, man. And I walked away from that to really focus on the things that I really love. And I didn't realize how much torment and suffer I was about to go through in order to even get to a very sustainable point, right? And years and years go by. I still remember hitting bottom dollars going, fuck, this is the 5th year that I've made no money. Again, I'm just surviving. How is this fucking happening? But then I'm looking around and I'm like taking it all in, and I'm sitting down and I'm looking at writing all the shit down that I've got. And I'm like, you know, 5 years ago, I didn't have $250,000 worth of machinery. I didn't have 4 hoists. I didn't have a CNC. I didn't have all this other stuff. And then as time progressed again, I was so overwhelmed with work and everything just got to me. I had so much shit going on at one stage. The internet was a very savage place too. You probably know very well, you know, people were very fucking rude and they'd go out of their way very well to fuck your shit up. And I had people they were going well and truly out of their way to really fuck my day up. And I remember my old man just going, you know, like, sell some of your tools and equipment and stuff like that. Just take a year off. Have a year. Just really think about whether you want to still do this, man, because he was watching me struggle. Like, even thinking about it now, the emotional struggle attached to that shit. You're doing 15, 20-hour days, barely sleeping, sometimes doing overnighters to be able to afford to pay that fucking rent that was due that Friday or whatever. And you're like, time catches up too quickly. You know, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I want to do this and I need to do this. And before you know it, it's 2 or 3 years have gone by. You've just lost all of this time. You feel like you've made no progress. But when you actually look at it, the progress was so solid. And then I realized at one point, I'm like, I haven't actually fucking advertised in like 3 years. Maybe I should advertise and see what happens. And, you know, just before I ended up in this workshop, which was like 6 years ago or something like that, I'm like, I'll put an ad out, just letting people know that we're getting back on the fabrication bandwagon. We're offering these deals. We want to be able to help people. I did the walk around here, took it a little bit differently, professional business cards, dressed it up a little bit nicer, you know, established really, really good business connections with really, really big guys this time, nothing small. And these are guys I'm talking about, like Aviation Australia, Qantas. And this was a perfect little hub too. You know, got Archerfield Airport there. I used to frequent going to the Brisbane airport and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just do whatever it takes to get this place happening. Brought all my tools here, sold half of it to actually afford to pay my rent. It's basically like restarting, but I was restarting from a point where I didn't think it at the time, but it was a really good position to start from, man. And I was doing it by myself. This was at a period where I'm like, I can't have my old man here anymore. Age is getting the better of him. Times are moving really, really quickly. I need to either do all of this as much as I can until I outgrow the point of me doing shit on my own, start getting staff or get contractors. And I sat down with my accountant, and my accountant's just like, you don't understand, like, this is, you're making a lot of money, but you're not actually making money. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, well, because you're so busy, you're not getting ahead. You're just covering everything, but your assets are so fucking high. Like, you know, I've got my own house. I've got all these things and these luxuries and stuff like that no person can just purchase. And I don't think of it like that. I never thought of it like that. It was more like, I don't have enough. This is not enough. I need this, and I need to have these tools, and I need to be able to provide this for my customer. And I was always thinking about the customer. There was times where I'd be like, just to make sure that this customer was happy, I'm coming back off a 12-hour shift doing work for my last guy that's just collected his car, and I've finally taken payment for it. And this other car rolls in, and then I would never say no to the idea of just punching out a big fucking night. Now, like I said to you earlier, I've never fucking used drugs or anything like that to get this happening. This was all personal motivation just to purely make it happen and get my name out there. And I thought at the time, this is a better way of doing it than actually fucking paying for advertising. And man, is it better? It's waves in the ocean. It really is. You burn some bridges along the way. Things don't work out for some people. Things work out fucking tremendously well for others. You establish relationships with people and places that you never thought you'd ever fucking establish relationships with. You're welding and fabricating things that aren't even cars anymore. Like, we've got contracts with some really, really big hitters, and the cars now are literally a fucking hobby. They're a passion project. Most of these, I will sit down with customers and I will have the discussion as to what they want, and I'll get a rapport, and we'll structure something together, and we'll have, it's quite an emotional thing. It's like this charger. It's quite an emotional thing now. And it wasn't like that when I started, man. It was like fucking sucker for punishment, man. Like, some of the stuff now is still sucker for punishment purely because I throw myself in there to get, I think it's like keeping myself on the toes sort of thing. But the level of stress that this all carries is fucking unhealthy. It really is not good for you. As time progressed, we're at this point here now. I've had some big CNCs. We've had $250,000 machines in here. I did the math. I'm like, this is not fucking worth having here. I need the space more than anything for other shit. So currently we're in the process of really cleaning this place up and turning it into more of like an engineering sausage factory for the stuff that really pays the bills. And then I can step away from that halfway through the week, and I can sit there and I can actually do the things that none of my competitors can do, and I can relax and fucking work on a car. I can take my time on a car. I'm not going to sit there and smack out an hourly rate or anything like that. I'm not going to force someone to pay me like $200 an hour to do shit. Maybe I should. But in the same token, I've established so many great connections in this industry, and I've met so many good people, and so many people that have helped me along the way, friends and family. And if I had to write down how many people have helped me through this, and I think back to the times when it was a real fucking struggle, man, I don't think an A4 book would fill. I'd be able to fill that bad boy instantly. It's unreal. And the relationships that I've built with these people, it's like I can't replace that with anything in this world. Like, money can't replace that. I'm so happy when I do this stuff. I love coming to work early in the morning. I love leaving here late. I love seeing the smile on the faces of people that I've actually been able to help. And it's always what I've wanted. It's not about making the money. The car stuff was never about making the money. It was actually just to sustain a bit of ambition that I had. And that's why I love doing weird shit, bro. I froth the idea of stupidity. Yeah? This thing was Barra. Right now, because there was just this Mustang Drift fucking Monster Energy video that I watched 4 years ago. I'm like, if that Barra ever shit the bed, I'm going Coyote. So what did I do? I went and bought a Coyote drivetrain. I've mated it up. So right now, all I can afford is an LS. But I went and bought a Coyote. I've set everything up that'll get this thing running. We'll get it on the road again, make everything work. I don't know anyone else, man, that can literally do an engine conversion. I've got contacts enough that if we've got enough planning, we can do a start-to-finish engine swap in a week. That's including the drivetrain. That's us putting a box in, getting a custom clutch made, a tail shaft, the wiring. If everything's orchestrated correctly, man, it's a drive-in, drive-out ordeal. But people don't actually have that much money to be able to commit to that much in a week. That's a fuckload of stuff to do in a week. And they don't believe it when they come here. They see just me, my offsider, and my partner in the office. It's all the behind the scenes shit, and it's all the people that I've met along the way that literally make this all work. And you need that structure, you need that stability, you need that friendship, you need all of that network to make all of this kind of stuff happen. If you don't have that, you've got nothing, man. And coming up to this point, I've been at wars with this. The car shit is just, honestly, it's not a financial stable thing. It's not a mental health thing. It's, if you were to make money, you're not doing cars. You're doing something that's commercial. You're doing something that's helping people. You're doing some innovating shit. Automotive stuff, you'll see the big hitters now, I won't throw names around or anything like that, but you know, you watch some of these pillars collapse shortly because fucking money's getting really, really tough. People are not spending money on cars, and that's why I've never based, as soon as I realised, I never based my whole business around automotive. The automotive shit is passion. It's love and dedication. And yeah, it's like when we built the RX-7. I didn't realise how many people were actually intrigued and wanted to see how everything was happening and learning. There was some fucking rubbish work on that car, but mind you, the point was not that. The point was everyone was getting together and actually wanting to help. And being able to provide something and actually show for something with all these people that, like, I let people that are friends of mine that I fucking have no idea about fabrication or anything mechanical, with a little bit of guidance and a few beers. They're here until midnight, weeks at a time, you know, and they're fucking so dedicated and involved, and they're learning shit along the way. And like, I'll turn around to some of these people, I'm like, do you want me to pay you? Like, I feel so guilty, like, because I would go out of my way for so many people for free. I can't think of the amount of invoices that I should have like pumped out that I never did, because I'm like, I like this guy. And then you know what? That next month, that guy and his mate have just brought all their shit here, and they want not only their car worked on, but they are like civil contractors, and they need attachments made for their digger combos, and they've got this and that, and they need this and this and this, and they know the guy. They'll call us and they're like, hey, some of the fucking craziest jobs we've done have been at like 3 a.m. on the whim, where they're like, we're fucked. This thing's stuck. We need to get this shit out of here. We need to get this done before X amount of time. Can you please come and help? We're on it. We can offer that. That's the fucking beauty of this, you know, and that's that hard work, turmoil, suffer, struggle, bullshit that you have to go through to fucking understand that, like, there's a lot of hard shit in this world. You get a whole bunch of guys, like I've tried and failed numerous times of finding the right person to come in and replace. I want to be replaced, so I can kind of sit down and like take more of a look at what's going on. I can spend more time on the details and really focus on things. There's no one out there that wants to do it, man. You know what? I get it. I fully get it. I honestly, if I could go back, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. But in the same token, I don't fucking regret any of this. This is beautiful. Like you say, say for instance, you come to me with your ED and you're like, this thing needs a bigger turbo and this manifold won't work. No, all right, I'll take a few measurements. You come back a week later, I've got a manifold made without your car. Sounds fucking unreal, but we can do it. And we don't advertise. I haven't advertised anything. We only run promotional stuff on like manifolds when we've got too many. And it's purely because I don't have room to store anything here. Like I'm at a point where like we've converted a non-mezzanine area into a mezzanine to start putting racking in and stuff like that. And half this shit doesn't need to be here, but the convenience of some of these tools is like, its value is in it just sitting there waiting for the time to be used. And like my family hates the fact that our backyard's full of shit. It's, when I say shit, I'm talking about like very, very expensive machinery and equipment. And I've got like a shed that's probably the same square meterage as what you see here. That's just occupied with like maybe $200,000 worth of crap that I've just accumulated over the years that I've written off on tax, and I've done that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm not getting rid of this. You know, my dad will see that and he's like, what's this tool? And I'm like, come here, I'll show you. And the excitement there, you know, I can still bond with him over things that he's never experienced and all that kind of stuff. But I've got it all now. That's what it feels like. I've got it all now. Still carries a fuckload of stress though.
That's the thing though, mate. And this is the realization, is that you've won the game.
Yeah, I feel like
right now, today, like this is it. Yeah. And this is the crazy thing, is there's a realization that comes and you go, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. I can make anything.
The weirdest thing about that is that like nothing really interests me as much as when I had nothing. Like, how can I put it? It's like when we went to World Time Attack last year, there's some fucking top level competition vehicles there. I love racing and I love seeing how people do things. And I'm not saying I'm the best, okay? And I'm not saying that at all. I'm merely just saying like I admire all forms of workmanship, whether it's like perfect or not. I understand where they're coming from and what they're aiming for, yeah? So I can appreciate that kind of thing. It is so hard to find the same kinds of people that will be willing to put in that much dedication and effort into this kind of stuff. That's literally why I'm trying to turn the automotive side of things into just passion projects. And like, I've looked at invoicing and stuff like that, and I'm like, if I charged out invoicing the same for some of these cars, in the sense of how much money we make on civil construction, commercial rated stuff, I don't know how people could afford to do the car stuff. Because there's some jobs that we've done, like this Viper project, you know, if, let's say, for instance, I've charged like 10 or 15 hours for the conversion, there was probably about 100 hours in fucking around.
Of course it was, mate. As I said, like moving the battery the first time from the front to the back took me fucking 12 hours.
And it's all these little things, right,
it's
that
the
no one really
things
fucking
that
understands.
nobody sees, nobody looks at, nobody notices.
Yes.
They don't realise how fucking hard it is to run a cable from there to there because it wasn't supposed to go there.
Yeah. But like now, having the luxury of not needing to, you know, put my customers in it. Like, I'm not trying to do them favors, but I also don't want to not do the work, you know. And I love doing weird shit. I like putting weird fucking motors in different combos, and as long as the customer can commit to the idea of it and actually send it all the way through, oh man, it's so fucking euphoric when you see something running and operating, starting, driving, testing, skidding, racing, whatever. The second it's actually starting to do something and you actually see it come to fruition, done. We've done it.
Yeah, magical.
I'll do it again. Do it again. Every single time someone wants that kind of thing, I'm going to listen. You know what I mean? And like, it's having the tools to do all sorts of random shit that I could never do before has literally halved, if not put the job to like a third of the time rate that it used to be. You know, it sounds so unrealistic, but having the access to like all different CNCs, but you know, I'm the kind of guy that would commit to the idea of designing a new head plate design, or I've got guys that have K-series Hondas that are like over 1,000 horsepower and they're not even in this country. They've got all these 4-piston motors and stuff and they want to plan them that's a certain way. Sweet, man. Send me a photo of your engine bay with some measuring tape, dimensional data and stuff like that, and I'll see if I can just roughly design you something that you can give to your local CNC shop. They'll cut it for you. I'll do that. It'll be like $200, whatever. Like, if they're a friend, I'll look after them as much as I can. When I see that part done and it fucking fits on there and you're like, man, I didn't even have to fucking struggle to do that. If I looked at myself 10 years ago, I'd be like, not a fucking chance, bro. I can't help you. That looks sick, but I'm not going to be able to do it. Literally having the access to all this kind of stuff and the people that I know and all the things that I can do, it really broadens the horizon, you know. But with all that shit comes all the responsibility. And it's so stressful, man. It is so damn stressful. There's been times where I'd like do a 15, 20 hour day here and I'm like fully understanding and aware of what I needed to do. But I'll leave here and I'm down in the dumps. It doesn't matter how much I try and talk myself out of the idea of how upset I am. I still end up in the exact same spot in a very depressed state. I have to try and like meditate and get myself back on my feet in order to restart and do the next day. And there'll be times where I wake up and I've got this thing where for some reason I wake up like 3 o'clock in the morning every day. I've stuck myself in a sleep cycle that regardless of falling asleep at like midnight, I will wake up at 3. If I fall asleep at 8, I'll wake up at 3. It's always the same time and I'll wake up and it's the same thought in my head. I've got to do this again. I look at it and it's the same deal. Like when we were struggling with mega overheads, I've kept thinking back. Instead of thinking positive, you always end up at the dumps and you think about all the times where, you know, you were barely making it and you were barely affording shit. And it takes me like hours, man, to get myself out of that cycle enough to just power on and do it again. And then I find myself in the same spot again. And it's a fucking savage cycle, man. You know what really helps? Driving your car. Going for a long fucking drive, going for a skid, going for... The second I hear, even if I'm driving to work and I've had a real bad mental day and I see something savage on the road and I can hear it before I see it, it's almost like I forget everything.
I forget everything, mate. I put my windows down.
I think my missus thinks I'm a little bit fucking weird when I do that.
I just spool boost and then I just fucking dose it as hard as I can and I just...
I love that.
Fucking fuck those turbo blades And
Who cares?
I make
That's
them
replaceable.
flutter.
The memories are not replaceable, you know.
And then you just make it dance and you make it make a few different noises.
Yeah.
And then I just boost it again.
Yeah.
And truly, I'm smiling just thinking about it.
Yeah. Literally.
Mate, the trees are green again. The sky is blue again.
Yep.
The darkness lifts.
Yep.
And all is well.
Yep. That's exactly what I try and tell myself every single time. And it does work. It's a level of therapy that's
Works
enough
every time.
for most men. It fucking does
Mate,
help, you know.
Even my dirty old diesel, because I've got a twin scroll ball bearing that we stuffed into that bad boy.
Yeah. Yep.
And it just whistles, and it sounds like a fucking truck, and it just
I still remember.
makes me so happy.
D-Maxes have been like a thing for some reason. I like buying them because they're pretty fucking reliable.
It's Isuzu, mate.
I've
Same
owned-
as Hyundai Heavy Industries. Anyone
man.
that has a heavy industries component,
Yep, done deal. The motor hasn't changed in like my work ute for ages, and you know we designed like one of the first like prototype snorkels back before like there's like a million snorkel shops now, right? There's heaps of guys are doing all this stuff, and I remember when we were in Sumner, I'm like, man, I had a 2015. No one actually released anything for this, but I'll make one, and I let one of my like fab shop mates like scan it and fucking I don't know what he was doing with it. I didn't really care. I just gave him one, and then all of a sudden he's like, man, there's heaps of money in this if you want to do this kind of thing. I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. I literally put the snorkel on my car to hear my turbo.
yes.
And he thought I was fucking pulling the piss. I'm like, bro, I'm an avid four-wheel driverist, but I drive this thing to work every day. I will sit there, foot on the brake, and I'll sit there and I'll like mash it sometimes just for a fucking piss take. And I'm like, this sounds so fucking juicy. It's the thrill I get without actually the performance side of it, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't need it to go fast.
Those little tiny things here and there that really just soften your day. You know?
It brings immense joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are very common threads with all of us who like these things.
Man. Yeah, it's why we keep coming back to
It's
cars are they're a savage thing, right? Because people, like, I remember when I was younger, with work, this is all work related, right? I was so fucking in the dumps, man. And at the time I needed money, sold my project cars, got myself out. I'm not doing drifting. It's too fucking expensive. I love drifting, by the way. It's fucking awesome. That shit is so fun. I'm not in any way like a magical talent. I just love going. I love spectating. I love hearing it. I love being a passenger.
Send it.
Oh, man. Like,
Send it.
the second you do, like, I remember the first drift tour at Queensland Raceway, doing the first 3 to 6, smashing it in my race car. And I'm like, fuck, I actually landed that. That's great, you know?
And
It pulls you back in.
and mate, and
It really does.
Baking turn 6.
Oh,
Like even just watching a car, when I watch someone just blaze turn 6 and just fucking hold it and get it all the way out to that outside edge.
It's
and
ruthless.
They are just fucking throwing it down, and
Yeah,
there
man.
is a plume of smoke out behind them. And then if they can mungie the straight as well and
Yeah.
just fucking keep like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that brings joy to me
It does.
that I struggle to describe.
Yeah, no, I totally get
Because
it.
like to do that
Yeah.
and to do that well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
very
It's actually
difficult.
really difficult, and to get you see these talented drift drivers now, and some of these circuit guys that have like converged over to the idea of drifting, and you're like, fuck, man, this guy's an animal.
Mate, can pedal.
I'm sure that I'd shit myself getting in some of these cars with these guys.
mate.
And I still remember doing a power play once. You know, Dan Keneally and all them, they're at the head of the pack. You know, they're leading the trains
Yeah.
and stuff. And I'm just in there. I don't know what fucking area I'm in, but I'm trying my best. And there's guys getting up on my fucking door, and I'm thinking, this is very fucking
is
scary,
mental.
man. But it's
Yeah.
also fucking very nice.
So cool.
And it's weird because you can really fuck your day up destroying your car in a process like that. I remember very distinctly, I'm like, I'm very poor. I shouldn't be doing this. But yet here I am with a car that I've built in like a month. And I'm fucking sending this thing for like 2 years straight. And I haven't actually fucked this thing up once, which is really good. You know, I thought at the time, I'm like, man, this is fucking brilliant. You know, this is... I used to love going to Queensland Raceway. It was one of those things. You remember back in the day, Stanthorpe and all that kind of shit. Bro, I used to go out there and just watch. Like, no namer. I would just go out there and just spectate. K70. I couldn't drift for shit. I do 2 laps and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. I'm just going to park. And I'd sit there and I'd have my shitty old phone. I'm like taking photos of people's stuff and like talking to people, not really talking about me, not talking about anything, just talking. And man, that was a fucking vibe back then too. And Stadium, that was a fucking vibe too. That was all brilliant, you know. And I think a lot of people from our generation are like, they will remember all these distinct things, and they can remember a lot of good times and memories associated to all of motor racing because of it. It sculpted a whole generation of people. And man, I'll tell you right now, if I shut my shop and I just dedicated everything to the commercial side of what we do, my house would be a fucking mess with cars, man. It would be. Oh, my partner would fucking kill me. It's bad enough. Like, I've got like 5 project cars now. 5 years ago, I couldn't even afford one. And I'm like, I'll finish one little bit of one and I'm already on the thought of the next one. And what am I doing to the next thing? And like, how outrageous can I go this time? You know, and I'm not trying to prove a point or anything. I just kind of want to see what I can do.
Do you want to help me straight pipe my 7
Yes.
Series
I already
V12?
yes. I said yes already. How sick would it be? Like, this is just
And then
spitballing
go
an idea.
tunnel running in it?
12-1.
Well, I'm just going to need a moment.
It reminds me of those, like, is it a 1G GT or something? Like, what's that Toyota V12?
Yeah, the Century.
The Century.
And see, everybody does that.
Yeah, that's not really a performance-y kind of thing, though. You need that AMG V12.
Whereas, see,
or the BMW one.
This is why my 90s 7 Series
Yeah.
is a barnstormer.
Oh.
It has 300 horsepower.
Oh, that's enough.
And, wait for it, LSD.
I don't believe you. I actually don't believe you.
Barnstormer.
I need to see this thing in person.
These were built to throw down. And that's partially why I bought it, because I knew exactly what it was.
That horsepower in that time period of life, that's a lot of fucking horsepower.
Fucking gangster. But you got to remember.
How's the torque?
Well, I don't know yet. I can't get the potty mouth. I can't
it's
get
not
it
running
out of,
yet.
No.
Oh.
Mate, I had to rebuild the fuel system, clean the fuel tanks, twin, and because it's basically 2 6-cylinders that they strapped together and went, fuck, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And then it's got 2 computers, and then it's got one that makes them talk to each other.
Cooked, bro. Yeah.
So we've had to rip the fuel tank out, rip the fuel system out. Put new twin Bosch tanks. Had to I've had to find parts from Europe and Lithuania. And Lithuania's got so many good BMW parts from the 90s. Yeah. And put everything back together, like fix all the little things.
Yeah.
But now I've got it turning over and starting.
Man.
Actually, Christian gave me his Snap-on OBD.
Yep.
I've tried to put another OBD on it because I'm just trying to. I'm getting close. I've nearly figured it out because it's in a protective limp mode, and I've just got to get it out of that.
Yeah.
Because it's ready to go.
Man,
like it's turning over. Like we have actually started it.
I'm
like
surprised you can plug a scan tool and it's giving you some kind of reading.
Yeah, mate.
Like not talking out of hand or anything, but I think the first time I've used a scan tool was like, I don't know, 2 months ago on that Galant of mine. I've never actually used one, and I've been in the industry for fucking like 15, 16 years.
So if you've got a modern car, you actually need one to clear all the fucking orange lights.
I mean, like, I guess rotaries don't need that shit.
No, they're just broken.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucked. Yeah. Bring it in. We'll just have to rebuild it or just replace
seals?
some shit.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah.
But no, this. Oh, mate, you've actually got to come and see this car.
Yeah.
I'm
you'll
get it.
interested.
And in the back, it's got like the mahogany tables. And it has
rich mahogany.
Because my idea was I was actually going to rip the V12 out and throw it in the E36. And I was going to go V12 E36 drift car.
Yeah.
Because I went, that's just so dumb. I don't even know where to start.
I like that idea.
So do I.
Fuck, I wonder if that would fit. It will fit. You got a grinder. You got time. It'll fucking fit. Yeah.
And that was I looked at it and I did the back of the napkin math, and I'm like, it'll fucking fit. And then when I got in the 7 Series, I'm like, I can't decimate this car.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I actually can't fuck this up. I actually have to fix this car.
Yeah.
And that was what fucked me.
Yeah.
Because I had a plan, and then I fell in love with the car.
Yeah.
And now I have to make it better.
That's just it's a cycle.
Because I'm a fucking idiot.
It's a cycle,
There's
man.
something really wrong with me.
You know what's really crazy is, like, when I actually think about it, a lot of my depression had actually stemmed from uncontrollable projects that I big-headed myself, and I'm like, oh fuck, I've bitten off way too much. And, you know, I sit there by myself and I'm like, I'm to blame for this.
Yeah.
But I'll deal with it.
It is a prison of our own making.
It is. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I love it. And that's why I have like 10 projects. Because
they never end.
Because
either.
when one stops, I need to be able to roll into another one.
I actually can't not do shit.
I have to. I can't sit still.
One thing that, man, does my head in here, like if we've smashed out our contract work and stuff and we're at way too far ahead, which it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, like we've always got some kind of staple long-term project that's here to tinker, right?
To tinker. And
there was a time period where I couldn't go ahead on any of the projects that were in the shop because I was waiting on shit for everything.
Everything, yeah. It's a terrible
I'd come
place.
in and I'm like, man, I actually don't know what the fuck I can do.
Because then you make a new project when all the projects stop.
That is the actual problem.
It's terrible.
I wasn't focusing on cars then. I was jumping back on something else. Yeah. I was messaging my friends that had like black projects and stupid things to do, and I'm like, oh, I'm keen. Drop it off.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, what else is there to do? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Because you just want to solve problems. There's something where you can't help yourself.
If this is a chemical imbalance, more people need this.
Oh,
because
man,
you'd
so
have
handy.
a fucking world of fucking problem-solving people, I think.
It's so handy.
It is.
But it's also, like, super annoying.
I think the most annoying part about it is that if you have to also remember you have to return back to reality of life and day-to-day shit.
Which is terrible. I don't want to deal with adult problems. I just want to figure out how to put V12s into cars that shouldn't fit and Vipers into GDRs. And, I just want to do that. That's all I want to do.
Yep.
And I don't want to make money. I don't want to be paid. I just want to play. I just want to do dumb things because it's really fun.
Yep. I look back, like I said, I look back at a lot of these cars that we've, like some of the dumber projects, and I look back at profit loss.
Oh, yeah.
Don't look back at profit loss.
Mate.
Oh, man. If I didn't have the other things floating me, I'm like, this is
criminal.
Is the
whole thing.
I'm actually robbing myself here. Yeah.
This is why I got to work
time
around the
and
clock.
mentality, it's not good for you.
Because, mate, to burn days just sitting and chatting to people,
it costs a bit.
It costs money, and this is the thing: it doesn't pay for itself.
It doesn't.
You got to do hard things.
Yes.
To buy back your time to do cool things.
Yep. And I can't recall how many times I've thrown myself in so damn deep where I'm like, how am I going to get myself out of this?
Well, it's the rules. It's what we do. Now, mate, I am looking at the time.
What is the time?
It's 3:24.
Do you know that it's been 3 hours in a blink? Because Christian was here 3 hours ago.
Isn't that amazing? So I've missed a couple of things going on today, but what I really need to do is I need to get myself out to Queensland Raceway.
Yes.
And what I realised was I'm going to pack everything up, and I don't even think I have a jumper. So I'm probably going to have to swing by home and get myself a jacket.
Do you want to just take my jumper?
Don't get cold.
I've got like 5 jumpers here. You can just take one. I don't know if it's the cleanest thing in the world, but I'm not a messy person, so
it's all right. I'm not exactly.
We're about the same. Tidy. We're about the same build.
About the same girth.
Yeah, you're welcome to it. You can take that. You can just keep it.
I think we've got this. I think we're going to figure this out.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Michael, this has been fucking excellent.
We should do this again sometime.
I have been looking forward to chatting to you for so long, and I don't even think we've actually covered anything because I've talked to you about your plans.
We're talking about all sorts of shit, man.
But like realistically, I don't really care because the joy of this show is meandering conversation.
I think this is very healthy.
It's fucking great.
This is
like what a good time.
It has to happen more.
It's fucking excellent.
These things have to happen more. You need more people like this. You need more people that are focused and the same, and they do the same things as you, and they're involved and they're in love with this shit. And there's a lot of people out there that are like that.
There's a lot of people.
I know a lot of people. You know a lot of people.
Mate,
we both know a lot of people together.
And this is what happens: is I'm collecting legends, and then we put legends together, and there is a cumulative compounding effect.
Yes. Do you feel it?
I fucking feel it.
I feel it.
I feel it. We need to break into 80s music there. Yeah, Michael,
good idea.
Even though you don't advertise and you're not taking any forward bookings, if somebody has something really dumb and a bank balance to back it up, how would they find you?
I think the easiest way, I always say this, right? Message the Facebook page. The problem with that is that it doesn't get filtered enough anymore, but the Facebook page has all the details. So you've got my number on there, you've got our location. If you want to pop in and just get a quote, book ahead, please. But I'm more than happy to take a look at any wild shit. Even if it's not wild, I don't care. You got some clogs? You want me to make you some stainless steel clogs, brother?
Holy fuck. Hang on. Okay, so I'm personally responsible for Crocs being banned in pit lane at Queensland Raceway.
Yep.
Now, because I've been removed from pit lane.
Imagine those in steel with like a fucking felt inner or something.
Do you know, I was driving here today and I was pondering whether I would be able to mill out of aluminium.
Oh, man,
but with the holes in them so that it lines
you
up.
so good, man. Yeah.
And like just to be a smart ass at QR, so that I go out there.
I mean, these are the billet.
And I go, these are my billet Crocs, just for pit lane.
Can I still be out here?
Just so I can wear them.
Imagine painting them the same colour.
And just like as a gag, like for no good reason, but just to be a fucking dickhead.
See what you can do.
And go, because I've listened to them announcing it over the PA.
You look like an 11.
Yeah, fuck, you got good eyes. I think it is 11. Yeah, look at that. 11.
Fuck, here we go.
All right, so in addition to straight piping my V12, we're also fabricating my Spacey and into a auto salon Gentsuki.
A masterpiece.
Fuck, we're really going to do
something that we can take to Daikoku Futo.
Yeah, to Daikoku Futo. We can throw it in there with Luke Fink's Falcon.
Yeah.
Because he's doing Australia proud.
Yep.
Taking
Taste of Australia
over there.
I think that's fucking cool, man.
Honestly, that's the greatest.
Do you remember, I don't know, I'm straying off track a little bit here, but do you remember at one point in time there was a VE Commodore that was at Power Vehicles in Ibiza?
No.
Man, I'm pretty sure it's still there, but the first fucking trip I went there and I'm like, man, imagine seeing a Commodore here. The fourth trip I went there, I'm like, this fucking
Commodore.
A VESS.
Mate.
They're skidding a VESS at bloody Ibiza. I'm like, this is fucking... I don't like it because it's a Commodore, but fucking hell, like...
Wait till the Japanese tuning houses. Wait till we get the Tomei Barra.
Oh. Tomei's taste. Their twist on it, man. Oh, God. Stop it.
I went past their factory. It's like in a fucking rice paddy, and then there's a shed, and you look at it, and, mate, it's no different to rocking up here.
Yeah.
And you're like...
It's all those little gems.
All these little gems. And you're like, mate, this is just a little butthole place. And you're like, holy fuck, you are like world leaders next to a rice paddy in a fucking place an hour out of anywhere.
Honestly, if you didn't know they actually existed, you'd just think they're a total online fucking thing.
Mate.
Eh?
And 326 power when I fucking
that blows my
there,
fucking mind too.
I just fucking turned up and I'm like, what's up? And like, they don't speak English and they're like, why the fuck are you here?
Who are you? What do you want?
Yeah. And I'm like... that was the funny thing.
Oh, they're just rolling their eyes like fucking
mate, they were these fucking idiots, these fucking Australians.
Yeah. Again, damn it.
Yeah, but like
burning our
you
fucking
make
time.
you make the hand signals and the drifting signals and
they know what's up.
And like they knew it was up, and we figured it out with a bit of Google Translate.
Yeah,
and like they're fucking cool dudes.
Yeah.
And actually, I showed them a video of my little go-kart, the drift cart that I've done, and they were fucking wetting themselves laughing.
I fucking love that thing. Dude, actually, in about a week or so...
sequential.
What is that? Is it a fucking motorbike motor or something?
Yeah.
Like a quad bike motor?
Yeah, quad bike motor.
Oh, that's genius. You just ticked all the boxes so quickly by just using a quad.
Oh, mate, during the week, I've been trying to figure out how to do front brakes.
Yep.
And the Ben Nothling introduced me to the fact that there are certain categories. Because I was like, what we'd need is we'd need a floating hub.
Yep.
And I'm like, and then we put some things because we can't control the braking. But I'm like, what we need... I said, Project Mew is going to need to work with us on this so that we can have... for front brakes, because we've got the hydro for the back.
You have to have front brakes to really enjoy the thing.
That's what it needs, is it? You need to be able to dance it.
It's all fun and shit if you can pull a hydro brake and whatever. It's not that. It's not the same though. You want to be able to do that.
You want to be able to feather it and be able to play both pedals.
Yes.
And again, they're like, why the fuck would you do that? And I'm like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
And they're like, but you're going to have to. And I'm like, I'm aware.
Yes.
I know.
Watch this.
Watch this fucking space.
They have no fucking clue, man.
Like, I just want to do it because it's fun.
See, because you've thought about it, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
you do know that.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about it for like 4 weeks. I've been like, how would I float a brake? And then I was chatting to Ben about it because I just talk to people about my dumb ideas. And then eventually somebody goes, oh, fuck yeah, I know about that. And
boom, done.
Boom, done.
Yeah, you're ready there.
And then once I find it, I'm like, fuck, I got this.
Yeah, yeah. I like that.
Jesus, if we don't stop talking. Mate, thank you for having me here.
No, thank you for coming here, seriously.
So much stupidity to come.
Yeah. You have no idea.
Michael.
Seriously.
You're a fucking legend. On that note, all you good people have made it to to the end of this always lengthy All Read Everything podcast. Be kind to yourselves. Catch you next time. Ooh, there we go.